last a lifetime. Our approach ensures the Boy Scouts of America is building the youth of today into the leaders we'll turn to tomorrow. The Boy Scouts of America. Building character is in our nature. Visit scouting.org to learn more about scouting.
Hey there, Dawn Riling with Olympic Hot Tub. Unleash your best self with an endless pool, the absolute best swim spa you can own. Play, swim, and stay fit in your backyard all year long. Now till May 15th, unleash savings of up to $8,800 on an endless pool swim spa package. Visit today and we'll get you swimming. Details at olympichottub.com. Better you, better life.
Olympic Hot Tub.
You know that cartoon of the three-eyed fish swimming in polluted water next to a nuclear power plant?
Yeah, classic.
I used to think that was real, but I just learned that nuclear energy waste isn't some glowing green goo. It's actually used fuel rods from nuclear reactors that made electricity.
Wait, so no barrels of leaking sludge?
No, solid used fuel rods are safely stored at all the nuclear power plants in the U.S., including the one in Richland.
So the cartoon fish isn't real?
Not even close. Learn the facts about nuclear energy and used fuel at energy-northwest.com.
At Carter Subaru, your drive begins with savings. With over 300 new vehicles in stock, shop your way, in-store or from home. Plus, when you buy from Carter, you support our community. Visit Carter Subaru in Shoreline and Ballard today.
Your best source for local news. KIRO Newsradio, KIRO FM and HD1, Tacoma, Seattle, Northwest News. This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by O'Reilly Auto Parts.
I'm Steve Kathan. Shrugging off tariffs and sagging consumer confidence, employers kept on hiring last month. The government says 177,000 jobs were added on. CBS's Kelly O'Grady.
This is a good report, but there's sort of an asterisk for me as I was reading it that there's a lot of different places where you could see pullback over these next few months if we don't get trade deals.
CBS's Jim Krasula has the latest math on home ownership.
Looking to buy a home? You'll need to earn at least $114,000 a year to afford a $431,000 home, the national median listing price last month. That's according to data from Realtor.com. The earnings figure is nearly $50,000 more than just 6 years ago, when the median U.S. home was listed for $315,000.
The CDC reports more children have died from the flu this season than at any time since the swine flu pandemic 15 years ago. 216 deaths reported. For a second time, President Trump vowed on social media to strip Harvard University of its tax-exempt status. The schools resisted administration efforts to force leadership and admissions changes. Legal contributor Jessica Levinson says a court fight is likely next.
If Harvard felt that its tax-exempt status was targeted because of its educational content or its ideological views, it could argue that that actually violates the First Amendment and that it amounts to government retaliation based on ideological content. It could also argue that that violates the Equal Protection Clause, that that's an arbitrary or discriminatory enforcement of the rules.
Now to London, where CBS's Holly Williams says Prince Harry lost a court bid to have his royal security restored when he visits the UK.
After losing that appeal today, Harry's only remaining recourse is to try and take his case to the UK's Supreme Court, which is an extremely high bar legally.
Comic performer Ruth Buzzy has died at 88. CBS's Stacey Lynn.
Ruth Buzzy appeared on popular shows in the 60s, including The Gary Moore Show, The Monkees, and That Girl. Her big break, though, came on Rowan and Martin's Laugh-In 1968. She was one of only 4 cast members who were regulars for its entire 6-season run.
Boy, you can't trust anybody these days.
Her most famous character was the spinster, Gladys.
It was a fun, easy character to do.
After Laugh-In, she starred in several TV shows, including Saved by the Bell.
Wall Street, the Dow is up more than 500 points. This is CBS News.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get the parts and service you need fast from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
A drive-by shooting at a local park. The story coming up, but first from the Beacon Plumbing traffic desk. In Seattle, a disabled vehicle is blocking a lane on State Route 520 westbound near Montlake Boulevard East. You're a little jammed up around the Arboretum. You have construction slowing you down on State Route 18 from the Tiger Mountain Summit up to I-90. still shaking off some earlier problems. Travel times about 5 to 10 minutes longer than usual for this time of day. Everett to Seattle, 34 minutes. Federal Way to Seattle, 41. Renton to Bellevue, 35. Traffic brought to you by KIRO Newsradio.
KIRO News Radio 97.3 FM Northwest News. Now, the latest from KIRO News Radio and mynorthwest.com.
Good morning, I'm Heather Bosch. Seattle police are searching for the drive-by shooter who injured a child and a woman at Beersheba Park in the Rainier Beach neighborhood. KIRO 7 TV's Samantha Lomibow has more from the scene.
Police say that shooter was driving by and then fired shots grazing that 8-year-old's chin and also grazing a 76-year-old woman. Police say the shooter sped off right after those shots were fired, but detectives couldn't share a description of the car. Witnesses told KIRO 7, though, that people immediately ran for cover here at this ramp, and police closed down the park and the boat launch for this investigation for a couple of hours.
Both victims are expected to recover. A 15-year-old Pierce County boy has been charged as an adult now with murder for fatally stabbing his mother's boyfriend this week. The teenager told police his mother and the boyfriend had been fighting when he intervened. He's pleaded not guilty and is being held in detention. Some frustration in Renton, where the school board voted to acquire land and homes nearby to expand the high school. Kenneth Green tells KIRO 7 TV that after 20 years of living across from the school, he may be forced to move.
My youngest, who's in the 8th grade, might not be going to Renton High School now because we might not be living across the street.
The district plans to take over 42 lots by eminent domain. A Roy woman says her dog is alive because of a new cancer vaccine. The dog's owner, Casey Benz, tells KIRO 7 TV after surgery and chemo, her dog joined a vaccine trial.
I don't think we would have had him longer than a few months if it weren't for the Yale canine cancer vaccine.
The vaccine's a type of autoimmune therapy that helps the dog's body recognize and fight off cancer. It's being tested at 11 sites, including 2 in Washington state. Seattle Seahawks rookies take to the field at the Virginia Mason Athletic Center today. Among them, the Hawks' first pick of the draft. KIRO 7 TV's Brandon Thompson reports.
The Seattle Seahawks select Gray Zabel.
I got to wake up and pinch myself every single morning that I get to play for the Seattle Seahawks.
Fresh from college at North Dakota State.
Big and athletic, and that's what we need.
Zabel is the first offensive lineman the Seahawks have picked in the first round in 9 years. He's one of several new players coming to Lumen Field this fall.
It's a whole DNA shift.
A shift Zabel says he's still pinching himself that he gets to be a part of it.
This weather update brought to you by State Roofing and Exteriors. Mostly sunny skies today with highs near 70. It's 59 in downtown Seattle. I'm Heather Bosch.
Your best source for local news, serving Western Washington and the world with the KIRO News Radio app. Always streaming live on your smart speakers. You're listening to KIRO News Radio, Northwest News.
This is the Gee and Ursula Show with G. Scott and Ursula Reutin.
Oh yeah, it's Fresh Fridays here on the Gee and Ursula Show. You can't beat it. I don't even have a sheet in front of me, but happy May 2nd.
Yes.
Happy Fresh Fridays. And good morning, Ursula.
Good morning, G. These are all things that we know to be true.
Yeah.
We also know that we are going to do our best to make this a... What did we say
Fresh.
we were going to...
Trump-free.
You
Trump-free.
were the one who said we need to make this as Trump-free as possible.
Trump-free.
Okay, I'm just saying as possible, okay?
Yeah.
But coming up throughout the show, we're going to have all sorts of guests. And we've got naked gardening as a topic coming up at 9:30.
All right, okay. Now, you already know what kind of show this is going to be today. We're going to really talk about naked gardening. I can't believe you allowed this on the show.
Well, Chef is out today. We've got Sophia as our producer, and we have a full show for you, so let's get going.
Ursula's top stories of the day brought to you by Batfitter, Northwest.
It turns out a Bellingham roofing company knew that ICE was investigating its workers weeks before that raid that led to 37 people being arrested last month. Court records show Homeland Security investigators got a tip in late January that Mount Baker Roofing had workers who were not legally in the U.S. Investigators asked the company to prove their legal status, and the company turned in I-9 documents for 84 people who have worked there in the past year. KUOW reports that investigators found that 56 employees either used a fake residency card or falsely reported that they were U.S. citizens. If the owner of Mount Baker Roofing had used E-Verify, which is a free tool, he could have found that out on his own, but he told investigators that he didn't use E-Verify to check work authorization because he says it's not required and his competitors don't use it either. Investigators believe that the owner knew about the fake papers, and so they got a search warrant to get into the warehouse and make those arrests. And the company now is still under investigation, and the owner could face fines or even criminal charges. So my question to all of you and to you, G, is does this new information change the way you think about that raid and the arrests? And then my second question is it ethical to knowingly hire undocumented workers?
It confirms what I felt about this story, and I couldn't say it on the air because, I could lose my job. But I assumed and felt in my heart that the company knew that those raids were coming. That's number one. Number two, in the statement to KUOW and one of the spokespersons for the U.S. Customs and Immigration Enforcement, this line right here is something. It says, immigration enforcement actions like these are meant to protect opportunities for the country's lawful workforce. And this company had 84 employees. Of the 84, 56 were undocumented. I just want to say this, Ursula. No, you're not supposed to do it. And that's why it should be mandatory for everyone to use E-Verify. Just make that a thing. Don't make it subjective. Make it to where you do it. And then now we just go from there. But this company, I hope that this roofing company never exists again. And the reason why I'm saying that is because this owners, they used those people. They used them. They knew that they were coming, and they continued to let them come and do work. So I hope that roofing company never makes it ever again.
So you bring up great points, and some of the family and former employers of those who were arrested say they were working to get legal status or they did have valid work authorization. So they're going to need to prove that. But let's get real. There are many companies that don't use E-Verify and are going to hire undocumented people because, A, they can pay them a lot less. B, they don't have to follow a lot of the same rules, and they know that people aren't going to tattle on them, let's put it that way, because they have their own issues. But here's the complicated part. There are a lot of people who are here in the country legally who don't want to do those jobs.
Come on.
So on the one hand, tell me any restaurant, any nursing home, any roofing company, any company that has people digging ditches, any company that has people doing the jobs that no one else wants. There's a good chance, whether it is the hotel chain where you have people cleaning the rooms, those people who are cleaning the toilets, those people who are working the fields, those people, basically, the Pew Research Center estimates there are 7.5 million unauthorized workers in the U.S., mostly in agriculture, construction, and the hospitality industry. About 1.1 million, or 10% of restaurant workers, are unauthorized. That number is probably even higher. So that's the dilemma. And I would say, yeah, bad on this company for not verifying. But there's also a reality check that comes along with it.
One of the things that really is notable in this story when it comes to this company, because 2 years ago, there were a group of workers at this roofing company that held a days-long work stoppage during that time. They were trying to unionize at that time when they were demanding access for like bathrooms and water, the typical stuff that we talk about here on the show and throughout. And there were employees that were fired during that time. So that was 2 years ago, and here we are now. But Ursula, I love what you had to say about like really pointing out to some of these jobs that are happening here in the United States. Right now, somebody's got somebody on their couch right now that's telling you that they can't find a job because some of these jobs they don't want to go and work. Last thing I'll say is this, Ursula. If you're trying to get a roof and you're trying to get some of these services, you better get them now. Because here pretty soon, when you have a lot of folks scared to go to work, you have a lot of folks where they're not going to work at these places anymore. So the cost of that roof is one price. The cost of that roof tomorrow is going to be another. So buckle up. Prices are getting ready to go up, everyone.
Here's the other part, too. If you are an employer and you suspect maybe that you have people in your business who don't have all the documentation, you should be doing something to try to help speed up or work through that legal process. Give them the resources necessary to go through the legal process. Because, again, there should be a pathway to citizenship.
Right. Yeah.
For a lot of people. And again, also remember that during the pandemic, where the government actually said, these people are critical workers right now. If they were to not show up to work, so many of these people, whether it's in agriculture or other things, I just remember going down the street, a restaurant where everyone did a collection in the restaurant because they said their chef was likely undocumented and they were worried about him and they wanted to keep him working during the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so just don't be a hypocrite when it comes to what you feel and how you feel about people who are here undocumented.
That right there, that story, I do remember you telling us this story.
Yes.
But that story it points to the point that I always talk about on this show. And the point is people act one way online, right? Because there's this partisan thing, you got to be on this side, the gang mentality. But in the community, it's another way. Most communities would do exactly what you saw happen, where people pulled their money together, and because of this undocumented worker that was working there, and they wanted to make sure that person made money. 90%, 95% of communities would do that.
New details this morning about a $3 million claim filed by the former Seattle Police Department's Chief of Staff, Jamie Tompkins. In her first interview about this scandal, Tompkins tells Fox 13 that she thinks the whole thing about her allegedly having an affair with Adrian Diaz was a setup to remove him as chief, and she believes she was just the collateral damage. One of the key pieces of evidence used in the Office of Police Accountability investigation, I have to remind everybody, was this Star Wars-themed birthday card that was purportedly written by her. Investigators said two members of Diaz's security detail found the card while cleaning one of the chief's official police vehicles. She says that card was not written by her. She says she never wrote any anonymous love letters. She says all of that was fabricated, but a forensic comparison matched the writing on that card to samples of Tompkins' handwriting. She says during her 18 months at SPD, she had to endure constant harassment about her appearance. Okay, just because in case people haven't looked, she's a beautiful woman. I actually watched an auction where she was the MC, and I came up to her and said, first of all, I mean, I just had to compliment her about her great emceeing, and also she's just a stunning woman. She claims, though, some of the crude comments came from Mayor Bruce Harrell himself. She claims the mayor told Diaz that he didn't care about the rumors of their affair because, this is a quote, the mayor would do her too.
Yeah, I just real quick, I want to go full stop on that. She did not hear the mayor say that. She got that information. Basically, it was alleged from Adrian Diaz. The same Adrian Diaz. Listen, the same Adrian Diaz that, oh, by the way, everyone, that came out on our sister station and wanted to let the world know that I've been holding a secret this entire time. I'm not believing nothing that Adrian Diaz says.
It's a story that it's struggled with over the last 4 years, that I'm a gay Latino man.
So after all these allegations about sexual harassment by him, et cetera, he went on the Jason Rantz show and announced that he is gay.
Right.
So he has filed a $10 million claim himself against the city, and he is now confirming to Fox 13 that Tompkins' claims are true, because, again, it came from him. At a recent news conference, the mayor was asked about these latest allegations.
I can't comment on either litigation or threatened litigation. I'll have to defer to the city attorney's office. But as you've heard before, we take all allegations seriously, very seriously. And what I've always said from day one, we are a learning organization as a city. All of the departments under my administration are learning organizations. So we will take that into consideration should it come to us for making decisions.
Okay, so the mayor fired Diaz in December using the Office of Inspector General's findings that he likely had that romantic relationship with Tompkins without reporting the conflict of interest when he hired her, which is against SPD policy.
Oh, man. This is just a gripping tale of, feels like, the young and the restless, scandal and manipulation that is happening at a major police force at SPD. The drama that is happening or has happened is absolutely ridiculous. With that being said, the city of Seattle is going to just have to flat out pay out. And what are you paying out for? You're paying out for the decision to entrust SPD with the most awful leadership. The interesting thing is, I want to give a shout out to some of you that are law enforcement, that you guys did kind of tell us off the record that it was a bad idea putting Adrian Diaz as chief. You were right. So as far as the former chief of staff, which is Jamie Tompkins, basically the question is if I believe it. I believe everything Jamie Tompkins is saying. You want to know why? Because the fish stinks from the head down, and everything was awful. And because it was awful, sometimes you just got to throw the baby out with the bath water. And Seattle, hey, taxpayers, you got to pay.
I, as a taxpayer, do not want to pay. And if the city is sure about its investigation, I hope that they fight both of them.
What you mean you don't want to pay?
I don't want them to pay the $10 million claim or the $3 million claim. I want the city to fight it. Prove the case that you had. Because it's too much. It's too easy to just pay out. I mean, right now, my husband was reading this story. He had literally said, who isn't suing the Seattle Police Department? I mean, and this is bottom line, horrible leadership on multiple levels, but especially the former chief, Adrian Diaz. Like how all of these lawsuits could come to bear at this point. I mean, there's so many that I can't even list them all for you.
I mean, you just take Adrian Diaz, just the chief himself, and what's going on. Does the city really want to go through all of this and fight this?
But there's no doubt that Chief Diaz was spending a lot of time with Jamie Tompkins at her home. At the very least, you could have thought this would be, just on appearance, a terrible idea.
So this is a slam dunk case for the city to pay out. This is easy. This is not even hard. Yeah. This is easy. The chief is doing all of these things. This is like your husband said. Who isn't suing SPD right now? Yeah, agree.
So how would you feel if you were forced to sell a home that you love to make way for school expansion? That is what is happening right now in Renton. The school board is moving forward and acquiring more land through eminent domain to expand Renton High School. KIRO 7 TV's Madeline Audelay spoke with homeowners about the impact.
Nobody's been happy with it. Everybody's dealing with it.
The district plans to take over 42 lots to expand and rebuild campus. They've already bought or agreed to buy 32 of them. Kenneth Green is still negotiating. He doesn't feel he's getting a fair shake.
Value of what they want to give us versus what the prices are in the area and the new mortgage rates don't add up.
The board made the call to build here in 2023 after district leaders say they spent 2.5 years looking for an alternative.
Now, the district is saying it's trying to offer fair prices. And again, you heard they've already purchased or have reached agreement on 32 of the 42 parcels where this construction is going to take place. I mean, my heart goes out to...
My heart does too. I mean, you can
folks
fight.
Are going to be forced to move.
Mm-hmm. You can fight it, and you can try to negotiate, and you can try to get the compensation. But I got to tell you, Ursula, sometimes we talk about buzzwords on this show, and some buzzwords that might maybe trigger you. Eminent domain, when I hear that word, it automatically just sends me back into a tailspin. It makes me think about all of the people all over the country that has been hit with that eminent domain. All the people in... Usually it's in underserved communities, yep. Right? Where eminent domain takes place, homes, generations of homes being taken. So I just don't like the word. And anytime this comes up, I'm always for the people.
I hope they make them whole.
Yeah. Yeah, hope me too. Okay. That wasn't that heavy.
No, and we're going to get a whole lot lighter because...
Yeah. No, literally lighter. Like... Let's close.
Yeah.
Let's close. Hey, here's how it's going to go. At 9:47, we do need to talk because this is important. Washington's supply chain is set to drop 40% here soon. Also, I'm going to ask you, what are the 5 things that you must have and keep in your pantry? If you could only keep 5 things. But up next, Luke Ducey is going to come in to really explain and to talk about naked gardening. We do that next. Gee Ursula.
KIRO News Radio, the Northwest's trusted news source.
Get the latest from KIRO News Radio's James Lynch.
It happened Wednesday morning just after 6 o'clock.
Experienced voices you trust.
Several people hurt after a violent Saturday in Pierce County.
Coverage you depend on.
More from KIRO News Radio's Matt Markovich.
It's as close to a veto warning as you could possibly get.
KIRO News Radio. We're on YouTube, our app, your smart speaker, and 97.3 FM.
Our first Mark Challenge victory is Aaron McCoy from McCoy Home Solutions, yet another small business owner that took the First Mark Insurance Challenge. Aaron, what was the initiative to make that call?
I've got something worth preserving for the sake of the people that I serve and my family. So it's important to me.
What did you learn through the process?
The experience with First Mark has been highly professional, informative individuals that have helped me from personal to professional insurance, life insurance, policies, coverage, cyberspace. Things that I was afraid to approach were pretty easily approachable.
How would you say their customer service has been, Aaron?
Absolutely 10 out of 10. I just couldn't say anything higher about First Mark. They've executed very well on as many levels as I could rate them.
So if you're a small business owner that wants to take the stress of insurance off your plate, do what Aaron McCoy did for McCoy Home Solutions. Make the call to First Mark Insurance. They're your teammate that goes to work for you. FirstMarkInsurance.com.
Hartley Wilcox here from Wilcox Family Farms. It's been fun meeting people at our recent egg demo events. I'm often asked, what do the hens eat? Well, Wilcox hens eat natural grains, seeds, and grass. They forage for worms and bugs, and their diet is free from pesticides and fertilizers. For fresh local eggs, look for Wilcox eggs at Safeway, Town & Country Markets, or Amazon Fresh. Wilcox Family Farms, locally fresh since 1909.
The team that gave me back my full head of hair, Advanced Hair, is once again the winner of the 425 Business of the Year. Dr. Parango and his world-class team begin regrowing your own natural hair the very next day. And Advanced Hair guarantees your new hair will grow, just like they did for me. Find out why Advanced Hair is the best of the best. With your free consultation, you'll receive $250 off and 250 free hair grafts. 425-449-8185 or advancedhair.com.
Jim Singletary here, Chief Roof Nerd at RoofSmart, where we're not afraid to tell you no. Looking for a roofing company that'll do cheap, fast work and just cover up the problem? No, that's not us. Want a quick quote without a real inspection? Nope. Just want a price without knowing your options? Not happening. Look, we don't want to tell you no, but if saying yes means cut corners, bad results, or wasted money, we won't do it. Period. And here's the deal. Seattle gets 150 rainy days a year. That's not wait and see weather, it's call Roof Smart now weather. We say no to leaky roofs, sloppy work, and bad estimates, and yes to thorough inspections, accurate quotes, and top quality work that actually lasts. So if you want an honest roofer who's not afraid to say no to bad work, call Roof Smart today at 206-487-4877 or visit GetRoofSmart.com. That's 206-487-4877 or GetRoofSmart.com.
Hey, it's Jason Rantz. Our local tax expert Greg Nunn wants taxpayers to know the IRS is now going after older cases very aggressively. If you received Form CP-504 from the IRS, do not ignore it. Be proactive and resolve your situation with Greg Nunn, N-U-N-N, None Better Tax Resolution.
Hey folks, John Curley here. One of the best home comfort inventions of recent time, mini split systems. Now you can enjoy efficient heating and cooling while saving energy and reducing utility bills with personalized room comfort. Call my friends at Home Comfort Alliance for a free consultation, and for a limited time, get 18 months, same as cash financing on all qualified systems. For all your heating, cooling, plumbing, and electrical needs, call the comfort people. Home Comfort Alliance. Visit homecomfortalliance.com.
With over 20 new home communities throughout the Puget Sound area, D.R. Horton has the right home for you. Learn more at drhorton.com. That's drhorton.com. D.R. Horton, America's builder, an equal housing opportunity builder.
Guys, thinking about testosterone replacement therapy? Revive Men's Health can help you get started if you're ready to book your free T-check. Visit revivemenshealth.com. That's Revive, R-E-V-I-B-E, menshealth.com.
There are 5 things money can do for you: growth, liquidity, cash flow, protection, and tax advantages. Don't miss an opportunity because your current retirement plan only focuses on 2 or 3 of them. Hi, Jeff here with Madrona Financial and CPAs. Don't settle for a partial plan. Get the real deal by requesting your no-cost Madrona analysis today and discover what you may be missing. Call 833-673-7373 right now to request your analysis. That's 833-673-7373.
Hey there, I'm Jack.
And I'm Stag.
We're just 2 deer that want to make sure you know it's deer season at your authorized John Deere dealer. The deer season that saves bucks. You know, like us.
Yeah, you can get $3,000 off select John Deere machines. No early wake-up calls or tree stands required.
Just a trip to your authorized dealer before June 2nd.
If you ask us, it's the only deer season worth celebrating.
Visit johndeere.com/deer season to find an authorized dealer and for complete finance details.
Confidence is knowing you're ready to handle whatever comes your way. That's what it feels like to take on your workday with Cintas. They make sure your AEDs are up to date, your fire extinguishers are tested and inspected, your floor mats are cleaned and delivered, and your workwear looks good, feels good, and is freshly laundered with the Cintas Apparel Plus program. So are you ready to take on today? Visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
KIRO News Radio 97.3 FM Northwest News. Now, the latest from KIRO News Radio and mynorthwest.com.
Good morning, I'm Heather Bosch. President Trump's feud with Harvard escalates. Trump says he's revoking the university's tax-exempt status. Can he do that, CBS legal contributor Jessica Levinson?
If Harvard felt that its tax-exempt status was targeted because of its educational content or its ideological views, it could argue that that actually violates the First Amendment.
In other words, lawsuit may be ahead. The federal government has already withheld $2 billion in funding over the university's DEI programs and campus protests. A Port of Tacoma commissioner is warning it could take months to recover from Trump tariffs, which have caused slowdowns at West Coast ports.
Commissioner Dick Marzano says ports all along the West Coast anticipate a 40% drop in business by mid-May.
It's not a light switch. They can just turn it on and off. The uncertainty our small and medium-sized businesses are having are whether or not they're even going to be able to stay in business throughout the year.
And the clock is ticking, says Marzano, as companies look to stock up on back-to-school and holiday products. They need more clarity on trade policy. Aaron Granillo, KIRO News Radio.
Amazon CEO is offering a rosier outlook on tariffs. Andy Jassy says the company's big online marketplace is built to weather the challenges.
When you've got larger diversity like we have a better chance of some of those sellers deciding that they're going to capture share and they're not going to pass on all or any of those tariffs to customers.
Jassy spoke during the company's Q1 earnings call after Amazon reported better than expected results, but also softened its expectations for the second quarter. A better than expected monthly report from the Labor Department. It shows that employers added 177,000 jobs this past month and that the unemployment rate held steady at 4.2%. A distressing report, though, from the Centers for Disease Control. It shows more American children died from the flu this season at any time since the swine flu pandemic 15 years ago. 216 children have died, and the flu season continues. In just a few days, cardinals will gather to choose the next pope. CBS's Chris Livesay with the latest from Rome.
This conclave could take a little more time because there are so many cardinals from far-flung places around the world that Francis himself named in places like Mongolia and Papua New Guinea that we just don't know a lot about, and we don't know how they're going to vote.
Wall Street likes that jobs report. The Dow was up 602 points. NASDAQ ahead 302. From the Beacon Plumbing Traffic Desk, still dealing with a disabled vehicle that's blocking a lane on State Route 520 westbound near Montlake Boulevard East. You're a little backed up over the Seattle Arboretum there. You have construction slowing you down on State Route 18 from the Tiger Mountain Summit to I-90. And we're still shaking off earlier problems. Everett to Seattle, 30 minutes. That's nearly on target now. Federal Way to Seattle, 38. Renton to Bellevue, 29. Both about 10 minutes longer than we usually see this time of day. Traffic brought to you by KIRO News Radio. This weather update brought to you by State Roofing and Exteriors. Mostly sunny skies today with highs near 70. It's 59 in downtown Seattle. I'm Heather Bosch.
Your best source for local news. You're listening to KIRO News Radio, Northwest News.
This is the Gee and Ursula Show on this beautiful, fresh Friday. You just heard Heather say that we're going to get highs near 70 degrees. Another gorgeous day, perfect day to do some gardening if you're into that kind of thing. But what if I told you that Seattle is now ranked the second best city in the country for naked gardening? I hadn't even heard of that being a thing, but Luke Ducey is here, fully clothed, I want to say. But he's here to explain what's this all about.
Let me ask, we'll start with a question. How about this? Has anyone here, have either of you ever gardened naked?
I barely garden, so much less naked. No, I haven't.
We just had a conversation on the show if wearing a thong to the bikini, a thong to the beach, public beach is acceptable. And the answer for me was no, but the answer from Ursula was yes. But go ahead.
Well, apparently a lot of people do garden naked. So Seattle is the second best when it comes to naked gardening, according to the lawn company Lawn Starter.
Who's number one? Oh,
Miami's number one.
Oh.
Right? Austin.
Which makes sense.
Right.
It's warm in Miami.
All year round. Austin, Texas is number 3 behind Seattle, by the way. So I asked Lawn Starter's editor, Jeff Herman, why do people garden in the Buff?
Well, when you think back to Adam and Eve, it's all about being naked in the Garden of Eden. And I guess some people continue to think that that's the best way to garden, is to garden in your skin.
So every year what Lawn Starter does is ranks 500 cities across the U.S., and they use 11 different metrics, like the weather forecast, Miami, right? And new gardener friendliness, which are things like, is it legal to be publicly nude in public, I should say, in your area? And what's the average number of Google searches for naked gardening or Naked Gardening Day? And speaking of Naked Gardening Day, the founder of World Naked Gardening Day, which is tomorrow, by the way, lives right here in the Seattle area. Mark Story is a professor of philosophy and a huge advocate for gardening naked.
Most people actually kind of enjoy being one with the soil, and to remove the clothes while we're doing it, it actually is a healthy thing. It's healthy intellectually, it's healthy socially.
It's healthy, Gee.
No, it's not.
It's healthy.
I'll tell you what ain't healthy. Gardening out there. I bet you ain't got no blackberry bushes out there. Bet that.
I was going to say, just the additional exposure to potential bug bites. Yuck.
Right. More
sunburn.
More area for bug bites.
So, Luke, first of all, fantastic reporting. You always do.
We've got lists here. I've got other lists for you if you want.
We need to hear more. Yes.
Okay, real fast. Coldest city on the list, what do you think? It's got to be up north. Right? Anchorage, Alaska. I'll just throw it out there. Cities where not everyone is itching to ditch the overalls. Boulder, Colorado, they say nope, in Flagstaff, Arizona. Now let's talk about Washington cities real fast. What other cities in Washington do you think are on the list of 500? Highest and lowest.
In Washington?
Yeah.
I would say the lowest is Spokane.
It's not. Bellevue is the lowest, 214th.
So you're saying they're really
What do you mean lowest? Like what?
Like most likely not to do it.
Oh no, wrong. Bellevue, most likely not to do it. Yeah.
And then the most likely to do it is West Seattle, or Magnolia or Edmonds.
No, it's actually Spokane, 21st, and then Seattle.
Wait a minute.
There's more room in Spokane.
Spokane is number 1?
Well, they're 21st. No, they're 21st on the list. We're number 2. But they're the next ranked Washington city. And then comes Yakima and Kennewick. And then Tacoma. What? Tacoma, all of you listeners down in Tacoma, we love you. You're 93rd on the list. Hey, Gee, it sounds like you're thinking about it. You're thinking about it.
So Gee likes bird watching. Gee likes being one with nature.
Why not try
I don't see him above.
So here's the thing about you. It's fascinating. Up until right now, I've never even heard of somebody doing it, seeing it, talking about it. It's never come up. You are the first person to come up with it. So I want to ask you.
Okay.
After doing this, interview and everything, are you coming away with you can understand how and why people do it, and would you do it yourself?
I would absolutely not do it myself. I can't get there. But Mark Story, the professor that we talked with, people skinny dip, and that's like one step away. There's something liberating about being naked in nature. That's kind of how maybe God intended it. I don't know, but I'm not doing it. No.
Okay. So where are the popular places for it to happen in Seattle? I know Fremont is one. I've got to say Fremont because the bikers. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
The Solstice Parade.
Well,
we already know that naked biking is one thing.
I got curious myself, so
yes.
I looked up some things. Apparently, there is a nudist area in Issaquah at Tiger Mountain.
Yeah, we know about that.
We talked to somebody.
Yes. Yeah, we know about that.
They got like Nude Fest or something coming up in August or something like that. Yeah. Well, I don't know where they all are, but I do know that Mark Story told me, he does it because we were talking about the controversy of the one Seattle beach, and he said, I don't need to go there because I've got plenty of other places in Seattle to go and be naked. I didn't ask him where those places were, but I did want to play this for G because for all the people who are a little, they just need a little push over the edge. Here's Mark again.
Whatever your comfort level is, with friends, with family, by yourself, if you can give it a try, I am willing to bet money that you're going to walk away thinking that was pretty cool.
You could do this with your friends. It could be a group fun activity.
I don't want any dirt. I don't want no dirt in my cracks.
And Joey says, be careful with your pruning shears. Which, good point, Joey. Do you ever walk around naked in your home?
No.
See, that's just it. I mean, if you're not already doing it in your home, like who would ever think that you would actually want to do it outside?
That's a very good point. And by the way, I'm just telling you right now, sweeping statement, if you walk around naked in your house, something's going on with you. That's weird. It's weird to walk around your house naked.
No, I don't agree with that. That's your home. That's your private home.
Weird.
You want to be unencumbered.
I'll tell you a quick story. When I worked at another station in the city, and they built a hotel right across the street, we thought, oh my gosh, are we going to see? And you know what? It was like every other night. I don't know how many people I saw naked in their hotel rooms. I had no idea, on their laptops, doing it, watching TV, just hanging out.
Yeah,
there are a lot of naked people.
A lot of people on Zoom during the pandemic. A lot of people realized people were working naked.
Can I confess something?
Yes.
That's pretty fun. Watching other hotels, you see a lot.
You see a lot of stuff.
You see a lot. Yeah, I've seen that before.
I thought you were going to say being naked in a hotel room.
No.
Peter in Port Orchard wants to know, where did hump tulips land on this list about naked gardening? That is a town, by the way.
Okay, I would have. Did you do a demographic? I need a demographic of who's most likely to do this. It's guaranteed to be Boomer, and it's got to be your delegation.
You know who's doing it.
And men.
No offense to anyone out there, but it's probably most likely people you don't necessarily want. I mean, look, I don't mean to sexualize. I don't mean to sexualize this, but I'm just saying.
It's Boomer. Nick, I want to check in with you. Represent Gen Z. Is Gen Z doing this?
You're not going to be catching young people out here in these gardens, no.
Okay. Sophia, we good? Young folks not doing this, right?
Some young folk, but I wouldn't put myself on that list.
Okay, cool. Thanks, Luke.
Hey, happy World Naked Gardening Day.
I know.
All right, coming up next, Luke Ducey talked a lot about what was going on at the port. Ursula talked about it. Well, coming up next, we kind of have a little bit of an update, especially considering Senator Patty Murray is raising some red flags about something. We'll do that next. Gee Ursula.
KIRO News Radio, the Northwest's trusted news source.
Get the latest from KIRO News Radio's James Lynch.
It happened Wednesday morning just after 6 o'clock.
Experienced voices you trust.
Several people hurt after a violent Saturday in Pierce County.
Coverage you depend on.
More from KIRO News Radio's Matt Markovich.
It's as close to a veto warning as you could possibly get.
KIRO News Radio. We're on YouTube, our app, your smart speaker, and 97.3 FM.
Still getting around to that fix on your car? You got this. On eBay, you'll find millions of parts, guaranteed to fit. Doesn't matter if it's a major engine repair or your first time swapping your windshield wipers. eBay has that part you need, ready to click perfectly into place for changes big and small. Loud or quiet. Find all the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. But you already know that. eBay. Things, people, love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm. An important message about your timeshare from Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group.
If you receive an unsolicited phone call or mail piece to discuss selling, renting, or especially canceling your timeshare, don't fall for it. Contact your timeshare resort or Wesley Financial Group for assistance, and I'll send you our timeshare exit information kit free with the straight facts about timeshare cancellation.
Call 800-885-7700. 800-885-7700.
It's a new year, but many seniors are struggling with the same old problem: high prices and rising property taxes. We're here with our friend Steve Teitler of Best Mortgage, and he says a reverse mortgage may be the answer.
Many seniors cannot afford to stay in the home they love. A reverse mortgage gives them access to equity in their home without having to sell. They can pay off their mortgage if they have one, and maybe pull some extra cash out of their home, and best of all, they have no mortgage payment the rest of their life.
But as you always say, a reverse mortgage is not for everyone.
That's right. Avoid the high-pressure sales pitch from those out-of-state call centers. I give you a consultation, not a sales pitch. I'll tell you if a reverse mortgage is right for you, and I always tell you if it's not.
Honest advice you can trust from the reverse mortgage experts. Best Mortgage, the VA loan experts and debt consolidation specialists too. 425-649-6000. Best Mortgage, 425-649-6000.
There's a sink at the brink and a drain that's a pain.
DayandNight.net.
You got a pipe with a leak, water's reaching its peak.
DayandNight.net.
Your old water heater, she's starting to peter.
DayandNight.net.
The throne's not too well, and ooh, does it smell?
DayandNight.net.
Have a clogged drain, water heater issue, or plumbing repair, and wish you could get a second opinion? Maybe it's sticker shock, or you'd like to know your options. Hi, I'm Bruce, General Manager of Day and Night Plumbing and Heating. Don't feel trapped. Do the smart thing and get a second opinion. Day and Night will provide you with a fair and honest quote, explain all your options, and help you with the right solution. Give us a call or visit dayandnight.net. I guarantee you, whether Day and Night is your first choice or smart second opinion, we'll work harder than anyone to earn your trust.
DayandNight.net.
The team that gave me back my full head of hair, Advanced Hair, is once again the winner of the 425 Business of the Year. Dr. Parango and his world-class team begin regrowing your own natural hair the very next day. And Advanced Hair guarantees your new hair will grow, just like they did for me. Find out why Advanced Hair is the best of the best. With your free consultation, you'll receive $250 off and 250 free hair grafts. 425-449-8185 or advancedhair.com.
Underestimating the trucking industry is one of the biggest mistakes I see victims and other lawyers make. Trucking companies have an army of lawyers and experts who act quickly after an accident to protect the company. Only an experienced trucking accident lawyer can navigate the complicated federal and state laws to protect your rights. If you or a loved one has been injured in a trucking accident, call Davis Law Group today for a free consultation or get my free book on trucking accident law at WashingtonAccidentBooks.com.
Hartley Wilcox here from Wilcox Family Farms. A question we get asked a lot this time of year is, how do the hens stay warm when it's so cold out? Of course, we have nice barns to protect them from the rain, wind, and snow. But also, their feathers are like a down jacket, and if they need additional warmth, they will often snuggle together. And for those very cold days, we have heaters to keep them comfortable and happily laying eggs. Wilcox is committed to organic, humane practices that keep our hens healthy and help preserve the land. When you choose food from local family farmers like Wilcox, you support the local economy with jobs and promote environmental sustainability, making it possible for our family to keep on producing great eggs for another 100 years. Pick up Wilcox eggs at Costco, Marlene's, and Hagen's. And for a healthy snack on the go, grab some ready-to-eat, pre-peeled, hard-boiled eggs in a convenient to-go 2-pack. Wilcox Family Farms, locally fresh since 1909.
Hey, this is Pete from Home Matters, a show that covers everything having to do with your home. Tune in every Saturday from 2 to 3 on KIRO Newsradio, where you'll hear from local business owners who are experts in their industries. From foundation to flooring, roofing and windows, furniture, and financial planning, it's everything in and around your home, and we've got you covered on Home Matters. If it matters to you, it matters to us here at Home Matters. Saturdays from 2 to 3 right here on KIRO Newsradio, or listen to the podcast on mynorthwest.com.
It is the Gee and Ursula Show. We do need to talk right here. Happy Fresh Fridays. Before we get to our topic at hand, we were just talking about naked gardening. And a text message came from someone who's been listening to the show for 5 years. And I usually don't pay attention to their texts. But today, Vicky, this is actually a good text from you. Camping in Eastern Washington, in a completely vacant campground, my husband and I decided to have breakfast in the nude. In the warm breeze, I was surprised at how great it felt. Not erotic, just natural. After breakfast, we donned T-shirts and shorts. Not 60 seconds later, a highway patrol car came screaming through the campground. We just gaped at each other, shocked. I guess we weren't exactly as alone as we thought. Vicky, that's a good text.
A lot of people are sharing their stories about how much they enjoy it.
Yeah.
And you know what? You do you. That's all great. I know. I wish I could.
You and Long Live Mark gonna do it?
Not the gardening, because that would actually mean I have to do gardening. But would I ever go to a nude beach?
No. Okay. Let's serious, and then at the end we'll have a little fun.
Okay.
Right now, Senator Patty Murray is raising red flags about a significant supply chain issue as ports in Seattle and Tacoma anticipate a staggering 40% drop in shipments. This drop, linked to trade tensions, could lead to fewer goods available for export and increased prices for consumers. As the grocery aisles begin to look like they're on a diet, many are bracing for another wave of pandemic-style shortages. Let's just hope that this doesn't get going like this, Ursula. It also is, to be honest with you, is kind of concerning hearing about this, but this news needed to be talked about, and there is an anticipation of a staggering 40% drop in shipments. Ursula.
Well, and we also had a story about the tariff concerns hitting Pike Place Market right now. Vendors are having to, pay additionally for these tariffs. Hey, we're still doing a good job not mentioning, whose name.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're still going to go with that. But the reality is prices are going to go up for most things. And I guess my question to you is, what are you doing about it? And I'm not talking about calling your congressional delegates, and which we should be doing. We should all be doing. Mm-hmm. We should be speaking out against the things that we don't think are right. But personally, if you have no control over this, what can you do? What can you do differently?
Nothing. Nothing.
Actually, there are things you can.
What do you want me to do? Save it on my lattes, an avocado toast? No, seriously. What can I do? I don't want this to happen. But there is real anticipation. We've been talking about this anticipation for over 100 days. We know that it's a good likelihood that it's going to happen. But
one of the things I would do is buy some of the things. I like shopping anyway, and I will buy some things now in anticipation of these things going up. A lot of times I wait way too long before I know of events that are going to happen, whether it's birthdays or whether it's, and maybe I can get some of those things right now. If we're talking about potential shortages, And I know you're about to ask, what things do you have to have in your pantry? But there are things that what were shortages that you dealt with during the pandemic?
Well, a lot of people went on to toilet paper, and so I'll turn it around on you. Right now, if you're going to go to the store, Ursula, you said that you would go and buy. What would you go buy? What would you go
gifts,
buy?
Some gifts.
Oh, you go buy gifts?
If I were in the market for a car, I would get that now. If I were in the market to do a remodel on my house, which I'm not, but it's only going to go up, right?
Yeah. We've been talking about that.
Yes,
and
exactly.
It's one of the reasons why I decided to make my move just recently. But let's have some fun about that. 5 things. 5 items. If you could only keep 5 items stocked in your pantry, what would those 5 items be? Ursula, what you got? 5 items that you only keep 5 in your pantry. This is it. That's all you're allowed. You want me to go first? Or you want to go?
You go first.
Okay. My special beef seasoning, Tim's jalapeno chips, Jif peanut butter, and crackers for my cheese.
Nice.
I need those 5. Just give me that. But you gotta have that ramen. Also the ramen in there. I know my wife would love that I said that. Gotta have that ramen.
Oh,
you gotta have that ramen.
I've been on a ramen kick.
Come on now. Oh, you have?
Yes. So I'll throw in the ramen.
Okay.
You have to have the ramen.
All right.
And that is inexpensive as heck, but so good when you need it.
Mm-hmm.
I would have. Can I just have a variety of spices? Okay. I have a spice blend. I need to have that spice blend. So it has garlic, salt, pepper, etc.
Okay.
So I would need to have that.
Okay.
I would need to have my jar of Nutella.
Okay. That's equivalent of my peanut butter.
I don't do peanut butter.
Okay.
I don't do peanut butter.
Fair.
I've not been eating chips, but if I were still on that chips kick.
You only got 5 items. You got to keep it in there.
I need to. I'll have some Doritos in there.
Yeah.
And God, this sounds so unhealthy.
What?
Move on to someone else.
Sophia, what you got?
Okay, I think I have to have pasta no matter what.
Ooh,
okay, good
right?
call.
And
Kraft box macaroni and cheese. Go ahead.
No, not Kraft box macaroni and cheese.
Okay.
We're doing DiCecco pasta. Okay.
All right.
Particularly rigatoni.
Okay.
If I have rigatoni DiCecco, I'm okay.
All right.
And I mean, do we count like olive oil and things like that?
Yes.
Okay,
Olive oil.
I need olive oil.
I do too.
I cook with so much olive oil. This is the Italian in me really coming out. Bread. If I have some sort of sourdough bread. Set to go. You can put it in the fridge too. I do that. But seasoning for sure.
Okay.
Any seasoning, anything to make it taste better. And then 5, I would do the chili and lime chips from Trader Joe's. Those specifically. Those are my chips.
Nick, what you got in your pantry, bro?
I'm going with, I'm a snack guy, so I like chips first of all, tortillas, Doritos, any kind. Then for meals, rice or pasta. Then I'm going with some sort of cracker like a Cheez-It or a Wheat Thin. And then I like a little on the sweet side. We're going to go maybe a Hostess or a candy.
Ooh.
Maybe M&Ms, maybe, I like Hostess though. And then on the end, for nights on weekends, I love a little bit of popcorn for some movies or sports games,
Okay.
I love that. Okay. I need to revise one thing.
Go. What you got?
Because I have to be honest about what I have been eating junk-wise, and it needs to be in the pantry somewhere.
Okay.
Those caramel M&Ms. That's the one thing. That's the one holdover that I have. So I got to have that. And then, olive oil for sure.
I feel like cooking items too, it's tricky because you're like, can I only have these 5 things and even to cook with? But I forgot about sweet items too. I need a cookie.
Yeah, and croissant bread. That's another one.
Somebody asked what kind of crackers? The best crackers for the cheese?
Yeah, what are
I get
the
them
crackers?
things from Albertsons, them artesian crackers.
Oh, the ones that are really hard on your teeth. But they feel special.
They feel special.
You ever had a chicken and a biscuit? Those are some really good crackers.
Yeah. Pretty good. But those are good by themselves.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, keep your texts coming in. People are saying we're going to have everyone doing a run to Costco. No, there's no shortage just yet.
Coming up next, is Bob Ferguson, the governor, a mystery? Let's find out next. Gee Ursula.
Are you looking at diversification and stability with your investment portfolio, especially with the volatility right now in the stock market? Hi, I'm Scott Reutin, CEO of Legacy Group Capital based in Bellevue. We've been running local real estate investment funds for over 18 years. We've had 0 investor losses and have averaged double-digit returns since inception. Maybe it's time to take a little risk off the table given market conditions. For stability, there's no better option than Legacy Group's Northwest Fund, a fixed return of 9%. Legacy's Northwest fund also accepts IRA accounts as well. Find out why over 1,000 local investors have invested over $250 million in our Legacy family of funds. Get in touch with us today. Legacy's Northwest Fund, returning 9%, has limited opening for new investors right now.
Call 425-635-4700 or visit LegacyG.com. That's LegacyG.com. This is not investment advice. Legacy investments available to accredited investors only. Details at LegacyG.com.
Your best source for local news. KIRO News Radio, Northwest News.
Imagine finding your dream home and moving in right away. No waiting to sell your old place first. Sounds perfect, right? That's exactly what Orchard's Move First, Sell Later program lets you do. Buy your new home now and sell the old one later. Here's how it works. Orchard gives you cash so you can buy and move into your new home first, on your timeline. No waiting, no showings, no double moves. Then the Orchard experts take it from there. They handle repairs on your old home for you so you attract the right buyers. Once they're done, a local Orchard agent lists and sells your home for top dollar. Orchard's Move First program gives you the freedom to buy and move into your new home first and sell your old home later. Buy before you sell and get top dollar for your home with Orchard. Ready to find out how much your home is worth? Visit Orchard.com to get your free home valuation. That's Orchard.com.
Hey folks, John Curley here. One of the best home comfort inventions of recent time, mini split systems. Now you can enjoy efficient heating and cooling while saving energy and reducing utility bills with personalized room comfort. Call my friends at Home Comfort Alliance for a free consultation, and for a limited time, get 18 months, same as cash financing on all qualified systems. For all your heating, cooling, plumbing, and electrical needs, call the comfort people. Home Comfort Alliance. Visit HomeComfortAlliance.com.
Hey there, I'm Phil Briggs, Navy veteran and host of CBS Eye on Veterans weekly radio show and podcast. And I often think of my old boss in the Navy, Commander Reed, especially when I'm trying to motivate my kids. Now I know how he must have felt trying to motivate me. This Military Appreciation Month, Navy Federal Credit Union wants to celebrate those who go above and beyond for us every day. Learn more at NavyFederal.org/celebrate. Navy Federal is insured by NCUA.
Here at the Almond Joy Factory, where tropical vibes abound, we use soft, fresh-tasting coconut.
The crunchiest almonds and delicious chocolate candy.
Ah, but do you know what our most important ingredient is?
Sometimes you feel like a nut.
Sometimes you don't.
Almond Joy's got nuts and something even way better than that. Yes, Almond Joy is made with almonds and joy.
Your best source for local news. KIRO News Radio, KIRO FM and HD1, Tacoma, Seattle, Northwest News.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by Progressive Insurance.
I'm Steve Kathan. Britain's Prince Harry says he and his family might never return to the UK again after losing in court in a bid to boost his security. He says he might turn to the Prime Minister.
Yes, I would ask the Prime Minister to step in.
Harry spoke to the BBC.
I can only come to the UK safely if I'm invited. And, you know, there is a lot of control and ability in my father's hands. Ultimately, this whole thing could be resolved.
He says he wants reconciliation with his family. The White House says President Trump's 2026 budget plan would slash non-defense domestic spending by $163 billion. No details yet on income taxes. CBS's Olivia Rinaldi on some of the cuts.
The Education Department, the Housing and Urban Development Department, the Interior Department, the Energy Department, and a lot of these have to do with some of the money that was appropriated during the Biden administration.
The government says 177,000 jobs were created last month. CBS's Jill Schlesinger.
The federal government lost 9,000 jobs in the month of April, down 26,000 since January. The likely reason that the federal job losses are not steeper is that those who were put on administrative leave or took early retirement, they are not counted as unemployed.
Well, tomorrow, tariffs take hold on imported vehicles. Dave Kelleher is a Dodge and Jeep dealer.
Basically, there's 16,000 car dealers in the United States who employ 1.1 million Americans. They're going to lose basically a month of sales. due to this price increase.
The CDC reports more children have died this flu season than at any time since the swine flu pandemic 15 years ago. 216 fatalities. CBS's Alexander Tin.
We're learning more about the fallout from this past winter's especially severe influenza season, which experts suspect was driven by a range of factors, including a poorly matched vaccine and changes to the virus.
CBS's Jim Crisula has more on a deadly accident.
Idaho State Police say 7 people were killed when a pickup truck and a tour van collided on U.S. Highway 20 in eastern Idaho, not far from Yellowstone National Park. Both vehicles caught fire in the accident near Henry's Lake State Park. The driver of the pickup died, along with 6 people in the van.
President Trump vowing again today to strip Harvard University of its tax-exempt status. Wall Street, right now the Dow is up 596 points. The NASDAQ is up 300. This is CBS News.
A riddle brought to you by Progressive Insurance. What do your home and auto have in common? Progressive protects them both. It was an easy riddle. Learn more at Progressive.com.
A local school district agrees to pay thousands to the family of a girl who was bullied. That's one of the stories coming up. But first, from the Beacon Plumbing Traffic Desk. In Seattle, a disabled vehicle is blocking a lane on I-5 southbound at I-90 and a disabled vehicle blocking a lane on State Route 520 westbound near Montlake Boulevard East. You have just a little backup in each of those areas. You are jammed up on northbound I-405 from about I-90 to Southeast 6th Street. Not sure what's going on there, but your travel time, Renton to Bellevue, is now 40 minutes. That's 20 longer than typical. And remember, you have construction slowing you down on State Route 18 from the Tiger Mountain Summit to I-90. Traffic brought to you by KIRO Newsradio.
KIRO News Radio, 97.3 FM, Northwest News. Now, the latest from KIRO News Radio and mynorthwest.com.
Good morning, I'm Heather Bosch. Seattle police say an 8-year-old girl and a 76-year-old woman were grazed by bullets in a drive-by shooting at a Rainier Beach park last night. KIRO 7 TV's Samantha Lomibao has more from the scene.
Police are still searching for that shooter. They're not sure how many people were involved or were inside that car, but we do know that the 8-year-old was taken to the hospital by her father. 76-year-old also took herself to Harborview Medical Center, and they are expected to be okay. It was a close call.
The Puyallup School District has agreed to pay $50,000 to settle a lawsuit brought by a girl who was beaten in a bathroom at Glacier View Junior High School in 2023. The girl's family says she'd been bullied over her hair and her Southeast Asian descent heritage. The district denies wrongdoing but avoids a trial by settling. The Renton School Board is moving forward to acquire homes and land near Renton High School through eminent domain so the school can expand. KIRO 7 TV's Madeline Ottley spoke with a local homeowner.
The district plans to take over 42 lots to expand and rebuild campus. They've already bought or agreed to buy 32 of them. Kenneth Green is still negotiating. He doesn't feel he's getting a fair shake.
Value of what they want to give us versus what the prices are in the area and the new mortgage rates don't add up.
The board made the call to build here in 2023 after district leaders say they spent 2.5 years looking for an alternative.
Construction will start once all the lots are acquired. A fire tore through parts of the Mount Rainier Scenic Railroad this week. They're now raising money to repair damage to part of the trestle bridge that runs from Mineral to Monroe. The railroad's Beth Maher tells KIRO 7 TV.
We're a small nonprofit. We've worked really hard over the past 2.5 years to get the organization to the point it's at.
They carry about 80,000 passengers a year. Cinema is coming back to the historic Port Gamble Theater for the first time in nearly 7 decades. In 2011, the Port Gamble Theater was revived as a live performance space, and now they're bringing vintage movies back to the community. They're going to show the 1939 classic The Wizard of Oz on May 17th with 2 showings. This weather update brought to you by State Roofing and Exteriors. Mostly sunny skies today with highs near 70. It's 59 in downtown Seattle. I'm Heather Bosch.
Your best source for local news, serving Western Washington and the world with a KIRO Newsradio app. Always streaming live on your smart speakers. You're listening to KIRO Newsradio, Northwest News.
This is the Gee and Ursula Show with G. Scott and Ursula Reutin.
Good morning, everybody. everybody. Happy Fresh Fridays to all of you. Happy May 2nd. Try to get me on this date right here. Good morning, Ursula.
Good morning. Hey, coming up at 10:30, we're going to talk about this lawsuit that was filed by a highly capable student who was rejected by a bunch of colleges. And one of them included the University of Washington. And he is accusing that school and others of racial discrimination. And so we're going to have details on that coming up. We both have a lot to say about that. I think there are a lot of parents who have a lot to say about the whole college admissions thing. Text us, 888-973-5476, 888-973 KIRO, and you just jump back on to our YouTube page.
Yeah.
How are we doing over there?
Let's see. We're at 56 here hanging on the YouTube page. So I'm sure in this hour we get going, it'll get up to 75, 80. So let's go.
Let's do it.
What's new at 10?
The legislative session has wrapped up, as you know, and the Democratic-controlled legislature passed a $78 billion budget that includes big increases in taxes and fees and a cap on rent, but it does not include a wealth tax. And the question now is whether Governor Bob Ferguson is going to sign off on it, or is he going to make changes that could even require a special session. Seattle Times columnist Danny Westneat was on KIRO yesterday afternoon, and he says what's in the governor's head is really a mystery.
I don't think I've ever been in a situation covering politics around here for 30 years or so where at this point you don't really know what the governor is going to do with this big pile of legislation on his desk. Like, is he going to sign it? Is he going to veto it? The number of people who are uncertain about what he's doing or what direction he's heading has risen substantially since last fall.
So part of the problem, G, is that, as you've probably noticed, he doesn't have a whole lot of news conferences. And Ferguson, who is a Democrat, has lost some support amongst his own party members because he was calling for cuts and savings before asking for new taxes. And GOP members in the legislature are happy that they think that Bob Ferguson seems to be moderating. But Westneat also told Mike Lewis yesterday that a lot of Democrats and Republicans, voters especially, don't know what to make of this change.
I mean, I think it comes from, the polarization in our politics. You think you know who the Democrats are and who the Republicans are. And so if anyone comes out and shows any sort of deviation from those stereotypes, it just confuses the hell out of everybody. He was the early adopter and proponent of, banning assault rifles, which at the time
fair point
was considered to be like kind of an extreme position. He also proposed or endorsed the idea of decriminalizing hard drugs. And so these are not, moderate positions. So he is a liberal, he is a Democrat, but he's clearly a different sort of Democrat than we thought, or at least a lot of people thought we were getting.
So is that a bad thing? Or have your thoughts changed about Bob Ferguson?
No, actually, they haven't. And what this is right here, and because Bob Ferguson does not do a lot of media, I've told you this before, and I'll say it again. There is zero connection that I have with Bob Ferguson. I don't even know who he is. The only reason why I voted for Bob Ferguson, because there was no way in hell I was voting for Dave Reichert, right? And before that, I voted for my man. What was my man's name that we voted for? From Issaquah with the mullet. Mark Mullet.
Yeah.
He didn't have the mullet. His last name's Mullet. So I was always on the Mullet fan. Now people are like, who is Bob Ferguson? Well, Bob Ferguson is the person that basically says, hey, no to the wealth tax. No, don't even do that as of right now. But, hey, let's see about making cuts and potential furloughs and all those things. When we're talking about the millionaire class, and something we didn't bring up this week, because people say, well, if you do this, then the millionaires, they'll leave and they'll get out of Washington. And this is why I don't like the regressive tax state. However, the millionaire class right now in the state of Washington has grown from 463,000 in 2022 to over 681,000 in 2024. So the capital gains tax in Washington generated $1.2 billion between 2022 and 2024, which could even yield more with an increased wealth tax. And so, Ursula, there's this confusion, but again, moderates and or Republicans are like, hey, man, I like this Bob Ferguson.
I'm one of them.
Okay. To which I say, sure, but this is why I want a fair thing across the board, because right now it's not fair in the state of Washington.
So we'll talk about the wealth tax because we do have it in the rundown, and we will get into details about that study that you just mentioned. But in terms of Bob Ferguson himself and his moderating, one of my biggest concerns about voting for Bob Ferguson is that he was so progressive and also seemed like basically my concern was that he would only govern for part of the state and he would only represent part of the state. And I appreciate that even if I don't necessarily agree with some of the things that are pushed by Republicans, I think that absolutely we need to make sure that we are representing the whole state and not just part of the state.
Right now at this present time, what are Republicans pushing for that
less taxes in the state of Washington? And I think the tax package that came out of the legislative session, this session, is too much reliant on taxes.
Let's talk about that. So if the state of Washington goes for less taxes, basically the answer is that the state spending, they need to figure out what's going on there.
That's absolutely the case.
Okay.
Yeah. That is absolutely the case. And then you can ask for more taxes. I've said that since the beginning. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I'm not looking for, stripping all programs. But is there a way to make sure that we are spending our money wisely before we say, okay, we're going to ask for more? That's what you do with any budget. But one of the things that he did say no to, and I would have been in favor of, is this wealth tax. He put an end to that idea to help balance the $16 billion budget deficit over the next few years. And just to say it specifically, the House wanted to levy a tax of $8 on every $1,000 of stocks, bonds, other financial assets above $50 million. There would have been exemptions for pensions, retirement accounts, and this would have affected 4,300 people, the wealthiest of the wealthiest. Again, we're talking about assets above $50 million. Senate Democrats wanted to set the tax rate at $10, and the governor said he wouldn't sign off on it because he doesn't want a budget that relies too much, again, on taxes to fill this deficit, and he also worries about legal challenges. However, he did leave open the possibility that a different version of this wealth tax would be something that he would approve of. I agree with you when you say, I think, that the wealthiest of the wealthy are not, and I know people get triggered by saying this, are not paying their fair share. And I believe that. Mm-hmm. And this study that you were referencing is basically done by the IPS, the Institute for Policy Studies, which is a progressive think tank. But they broke down what has happened since that capital gains tax that passed in 2022. And that's what you were talking about, where we've got more millionaires in the Seattle area.
There's a reason why the state of Washington is a beautiful place to be for millionaires. And by the way, for all of I'm leaving Washington. No, you're not. They're not leaving right now. There's no reason to leave here. And they're not leaving. They're not fleeing from the taxes. You know what they're doing? They're growing their riches. Let me say this again. In 2022, in the state of Washington, there were 463,000 millionaires. 2 years later, there's 681,000. Why is that? Is it because rich people are being taxed a lot here in this state? No. The numbers speak for themselves. It tells you, go to Washington, make money, hold your money, because that's the place to be, because they're a regressively taxed state. The lie, people are leaving, they're just tired of it. No, they're not. If you're leaving, that's because you can't afford to live here. People that are rich are not leaving this place.
Yeah, the highest profile person who did leave was Jeff Bezos, but I would argue that there were other reasons he left too. I mean, he has other business ventures, and he has also this fiance, and I think that there were other reasons for him to move over to Miami. But one of the things is that he's not going to be taxed the same way that he's taxed here in the state of Washington, and Washington did lose money, but that's the one name that has come up. I don't see them leaving in droves. Hang on, just to make your point.
Okay.
The number of residents, so this IPS report also said the number of residents with a net worth of over $50 million increased from 2,060 to 2,939, which is about a 43% increase over the same period. Again, to make your point, the rich are getting richer.
I got to tell you, this messes up my mood when we talk about this. It messes up my mood is because within the last 10 years, I have been on both sides. A little over 10 years ago, I was financially struggling, couldn't afford anything, nothing, broke as a joke. And then here I am today, understanding, seeing the game, listening and learning from my accountant, seeing how the game is played. And because I see how the game is played, it bothers me to my soul, to my core. It is so unfair to people struggling. So when I talk about this, I talk about it on the other side of I'm now thinking about me 10 years ago. Mm-hmm. I'm now thinking about those who are barely making it day after day. I'm thinking about the people all in this state that are paying the majority of their share, the percentage of taxes, more than the rich folks. And the game, and by that way, I know you guys keep hearing me say this number. There were 463,000 in 2022 millionaires. And then now there's 681,000 in 2024. The question is why? Why did all of a sudden you gain 200,000+ millionaires? Mm-hmm. Because the game is set up for them. Mm-hmm. And the fact, and it bothers me. It bothers me so bad because I don't think that the majority of people that's involved with making this game, they care nothing about the person or care about me 10 years ago. All they care about is the money that they have got together, the savings that they make, while Gen Z and all of you can't afford to buy anything. Mm-hmm. Oh, man. This game is so rigged.
It is rigged. Question. Because you said you have been working with your accountant has opened your eyes to a lot of things. Does your accountant tell you about things that you can do to maybe...
Absolutely. Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So there's tax avoidance schemes, et cetera, et cetera. Yes, exactly. Well, that is what has happened to a lot of people who've made their way up. And by the way, I don't even have an accountant. Just FYI. I don't have an accountant.
And my financial person, yes, are showing me the game. And Ursula, I'm glad you just said that.
Yes.
It'd be like 2 weeks ago or a week ago. I'm like, oh, I didn't know that. Oh, I didn't know that. But these things that I learn, right? This is stuff that so many people know. This is how you go from, in 2 years, another 200,000 millionaires. There's so much game out here within the game. But here's the thing. Here's the catch. And you can't play it if you got no money. That's the thing.
It's true, and it's so unfair, which is, again, why I would say I'm not against this wealth tax. We're talking about taxing on over $50 million worth of specific financial assets and only taxing, that certain amount. I mean, and this is a minuscule number of people who won't even notice.
So my question, Ursula, is this, and you do a good job of helping me understand. You're talking about taxes on $50 million. Why the heck am I fighting with people that make...
I know. Because by principle, there are people who would be benefiting from exactly what we're talking about, but by principle and because they believe in less government, less intervention, and less taxes, they, on principle, will say, I'm against it, even though it could benefit them. That's why. Okay, I also want to point out though, because I mean, I even had to ask you, and someone's asking this same question. When you refer to millionaires, I asked you the same question yesterday. What do you mean by a millionaire? Because a millionaire in Seattle is very different from a millionaire in Texas.
Okay, so here, I don't know what they are determining here with their millionaire thing. I determine a millionaire to be this. I don't count access equity in your home. I don't count that. I count what's in your checking and savings.
Yeah, but even your 401k. I mean, you're not tapping into that right now. You could have a chunk there, but you're not tapping into it right now.
But I do count your 401k, and I do count what's in your stock. Would you got in shares of stock and things like that? Yes, but I don't count. Me personally, I don't count for myself. I don't count equity in home. So everybody's definition, I don't even know what their definition is of millionaire.
In essence, if you own a house in the Seattle area, not just the city of Seattle proper, there's a good chance you have $1 million worth of house. Because even the smallest of houses are close to $1 million at this point, right?
No doubt.
And there are people who may own a house and may have some money, and if you put it all together, they're topping $1 million, but they're like, I don't feel like a millionaire.
Yeah. And I'm glad you bring up house, and I'm glad you bring up real estate. Because sometimes when I have discussions, Ursula, with people here in the state of Washington, and they say things like, well, yeah, you know, my great-grandfather, he bought a house here, and it was only like $10,000. And then that same house right here is 1.8 or it's $2 million. See, those conversations, people redline in the Central District, they can't have those conversations because those homes that were purchased in the Central District go for way less. And then gentrification happens, right? They get moved out, priced out, property taxed out of those neighborhoods. And then now the same area, 23rd and Jackson, 23rd and Union, Madison, now those areas, those homes are skyrocketed. How come those homes weren't skyrocketed before they left? The game is rigged.
It's very hard when you don't have money to be able to take advantage of the things that people do when they do have money, period.
Facts. Good stuff. So true. All right, Ursula. We're going to talk about the team that's suing UW, the child prodigy. All right, do that next. Gee Ursula.
This hour is brought to you by Pella Windows and Doors of Western Washington.
The Jake and Spike Show.
Weekdays, noon to 3.
Here's what people are clamoring to buy right now. Poop from the Seattle Zoo. Zoodoo. You can get a zebra, you get giraffe, a poodoos. You ever heard of that animal in your life?
Never in my life.
Laura, can you look that up?
It looks like a tiny Bambi.
I don't know how much poop you're going to get from that thing.
That's why it's rare and costly, my friend.
Jake and Spike.
Weekdays, noon to 3.
On KIRO Newsradio 97.3 FM. Watch the Jake and Spike Show live on YouTube.
Carter Subaru wants to buy your car. Carter Subaru will buy your vehicle for top dollar, even if you're not in the market for a new one. And when you are ready to buy a new vehicle, your drive begins with savings at Carter Subaru. Carter Subaru in Shoreline and Ballard.
Before taking your next flight, you'll need to be prepared. Start off with a visit to realidwa.com.
New ID requirements for travel go into effect on May 7th, 2025.
There are multiple forms of ID you can use.
Whatever option you choose, make sure you have it with you before heading to the airport.
That way, you can travel stress-free.
Don't wait. Prepare today so we can fly together.
It's your final boarding call for Real ID.
Visit realidwa.com.
The team that gave me back my full head of hair, Advanced Hair, is once again the winner of the 425 Business of the Year. Dr. Parango and his world-class team begin regrowing your own natural hair the very next day. And Advanced Hair guarantees your new hair will grow, just like they did for me. Find out why Advanced Hair is the best of the best. With your free consultation, you'll receive $250 off and 250 free hair grafts. 425-449-8185 or advancedhair.com.
I've always been a super athletic guy, but after I turned 40, I noticed I was slowing down. Instead of hitting the gym after work, I spent my evenings on the couch with a bag of chips. I was gaining weight, losing muscle, and when I did try to work out, I ran out of energy right away. One of my buddies suggested I book a free testosterone check at Revive Health, and that's when I learned that low T doesn't just impact how guys perform in the bedroom. I worked with a provider to create my custom treatment plan, and today I'm feeling stronger than ever. Last week, I even set a new PR at the gym. My only regret is not reaching out sooner.
If you're ready to book your free T-check, visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com or call 206-529-1111. Again, that's 206-529-1111.
Are you looking for a new treat? Ivers has opened its new Clam Digger Cafe on Pier 54 in the new Seattle Waterfront Park. Just walk into acres of clams and take a seat. No need to make a reservation nor wait for a table. Order off the new menu featuring new appetizers and shareables like pretzel and beer cheese bites, crab and shrimp empanadas, a fried clam po' boy, or Ivers margarita prawns. You can still get Ivers favorites, including wild Alaskan true cod fish and chips, calamari, Seattle's favorite clam chowder, grilled salmon or halibut, or a seafood Cobb salad. Enjoy it all while you watch the ferries, fireboats, and container ships, or be entertained by gulls feasting on French fries outside the windows. Try the Ivers' new Clam Digger Cafe on Pier 54 on your next visit to Seattle's new waterfront. Find more details about the Clam Digger Cafe at ivers.com. That's ivers.com.
Eric Johnson here. I covered a lot of accidents over the past 30 years or so, but I never got to say much about what to do after a crash. Be honest, do you know what evidence to collect, what pictures to take, what documents to request, or what you shouldn't say to your insurance company? The Washington Accident Book Series is a must-have for drivers who want to be prepared for whatever the roads throw at them. Know your rights and how to avoid common mistakes after an accident by getting your free copy at WashingtonAccidentBooks.com.
Discover one of the new inventions in home comfort with mini split systems from Home Comfort Alliance. Enjoy efficient heating and cooling, saving energy and reducing utility bills. Call now for a free consultation and get 18 months same as cash financing. Visit HomeComfortAlliance.com.
Hey, this is Pete from Home Matters. Tune in this weekend when we'll talk with local business owners about everything in and around your home. Join us on Saturdays from 2 to 3 right here on KIRO News Radio or listen to the podcast on mynorthwest.com.
This is Secret Clinical dominating extra stinky stress sweat. And this is regular deodorant. Secret Clinical in a heat wave.
Oh, what a beautiful day.
This is regular deodorant.
Ugh, I can't.
Secret Clinical with workout sweat.
Let's run another marathon.
And regular deodorant.
How much more?
Secret is the GOAT because nothing fights sweat better.
Stay fresher under pressure.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Cars for Kids, your trusted charity for car donations, also accepts donations of boats, RVs, motorcycles, and real estate. Call today, 877-CARS4KIDS.
KIRO News Radio 97.3 FM Northwest News. Now, the latest from KIRO News Radio and mynorthwest.com.
Good morning, I'm Heather Bosch. Police in the central Washington town of Selah confirm human remains found last month were those of a 4-year-old.
The medical examiner is still doing tests to figure out how A.J. Funderburg died. His father, Preston Funderburg, was arrested the next day. A.J. had a heart condition that was described as a hole in his heart, according to court documents. Authorities say his father told officers he found A.J. dead in his bed in his home on December 2nd. Not wanting to lose his other children, father allegedly panicked and buried A.J. Frank Lindsay, KIRO News Radio.
The flu season continues to take a toll. The Washington State Health Department says 422 Washington residents have died from the flu this season. Most had underlying health problems or were elderly. 3 were children. A new report from the Center for Disease Control shows more American children died from the flu this season at any time since the swine flu pandemic 15 years ago. President Trump's feud with Harvard escalates. More from CBS's Natalie Brand.
The president said he's revoking Harvard's tax-exempt status. The university has already sued the administration for freezing more than $2 billion in federal funding after Harvard resisted the administration's pressure to enact policy changes to address anti-Semitism and DEI initiatives. Natalie Brand, CBS News, the White House.
Fallout from President Trump's tariffs. Washington U.S. Senator Patty Murray says cargo ship traffic is down at ports along the West Coast.
Less cargo at our ports means less goods for our truckers to transport. And that ultimately means bare shelves for our retailers and the American consumer.
The ports of Seattle and Tacoma say they expect shipments to plummet by 40% later this month amid the ongoing trade war. Analysts warn we're going to have supply chain problems that we probably haven't seen since the height of COVID. Today's healthy jobs report was due in part to companies trying to get ahead of those tariffs. The U.S. added a total of 177,000 new jobs. CBS's Kelly O'Grady.
Where the growth came from in terms of new roles out in the economy, transportation and warehousing. You're likely going to see that not sustainable because that increased with all these companies bringing imported goods into the country to get ahead of that tariff deadline.
Unemployment held steady at 4.2%. And Wall Street likes that. The Dow is up 537 points. NASDAQ ahead 282. From the Beacon Plumbing Traffic Desk. In Seattle, the disabled vehicle's been moved from I-5 southbound at I-90, and it looks like the disabled vehicle's been moved from State Route 520 near Montlake Boulevard East, so your backups are clearing there. Whatever jammed up northbound I-405 near I-90 is easing. Your travel time Renton to Bellevue is now about 26 minutes, only 5 more than typical. Remember, you have construction slowing you down on State Route 18 from the Tiger Mountain Summit to I-90. Traffic brought to you by KIRO Newsradio. This weather update brought to you by State Roofing and Exteriors. Mostly sunny skies today with highs near 70. It's 60 in downtown Seattle. I'm Heather Bosch.
Your best source for local news. You're listening to KIRO News Radio, Northwest News.
Okay, welcome back to the Gee and Ursula Show. We sure appreciate you hanging out with us on this fresh Friday. So far, so good on our promise to be Trump-free.
Sure is.
Right?
Yep, good
yeah,
job.
and we had such a spirited conversation. We're going to have to bring back some of it, maybe in the 11 o'clock hour, because you have gotten more details on what defines a millionaire.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. I asked my financial advisor, I'm like, hey, what are the qualifications here in state? And he sent it all to me.
Okay, so we'll discuss that here shortly?
Sure.
Okay, but right now, let's talk about this 19-year-old Asian-American student who is suing the University of Washington and several other schools for allegedly rejecting him because of racial discrimination. His name is Stanley Zhang. He graduated in the top % of his high school class. He had a 4.42 GPA and a 1590 SAT score. He was a self-taught programmer who, at the age of 13, was even recruited to work at Google. And so he thought he should have been a shoo-in to all these so-called elite schools that he applied to. But in 2023, when his admissions letters started trickling in, he was met with one disappointment after another, eventually getting rejected by 16 schools, including UW. So it turned out only the University of Texas at Austin and the University of Maryland, both are schools with pretty generous admission rates, accepted him. And Stanley's father, Nan, was just shocked. And so they filed these lawsuits alleging the schools were discriminating and basically putting in admissions practices that would disadvantage highly qualified Asian American applicants.
I hope this lawsuit goes through. And the reason why I wanted to go through, at least be heard, is because I want discovery. I want all schools, I want that they're going to be suing. I want everybody for the last 10, 15 years to show exactly how people were being let into universities. Now, it's going to be a tough road considering, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Ursula, so coming up in 2025, there's 70,000 applicants for the University of
Yeah,
Washington.
we got that from Angela Poe Russell, who is really involved in the whole admissions process right now with her daughter. And so UW hit another record. And to that end, I want to point out, and thank you, Sonia, for looking this up, that right now for UW admissions, they look at the average SAT score. And if you look, it's like 1410, unweighted GPA of 3.8. I can just tell you right now that you have to be a perfect student with, you have to have not just fantastic scores. That's not going to guarantee your way in there. Right now, 23% of UW students are identifying as Asian American. So it's not that they don't have a large number of Asian American admissions. And so the one thing that might help this student, and I'm sure it was very disappointing, but I got to say something about the admissions process anyway. But Asian American students even filed a lawsuit, and the Supreme Court back in June of 2023 found that Asian students were systematically overlooked because so many of them were not getting into these colleges. Now, if you look at the list of what Stanley applied to, the list of schools, I mean, they are all schools that have very small percentage rates in terms of admissions.
Right.
So on the one hand, I can see where he would be extremely disappointed, but I also think that this is the problem with the whole admissions industry and the what they look for, because a lot of times there will be students, highly capable students, and there are tons of them, by the way. There are students who've been grooming for college for years and years and years. From the time they were practically in diapers, their parents have been kind of pumping that into their heads, right? Like, you're going to go to one of those elite colleges. Mm-hmm. And so even though he had extremely amazing stats, there are many other people who have those amazing stats. And a lot of times admissions officers, the ones that I have interviewed, have said, you know, we get so many of these, and we really are looking for different things when it comes to students. And it's not just those statistics. And so a lot of times they'll also assume that you might want to go, if you are that good, that there's a good chance that you're not going to choose their university and you've just chosen to do 20 different applications. Mm-hmm. And they are really interested in this whole idea of yield, which is this idea of, we want to be able to continue to say only 5% of students get into Stanford.
Yeah. First, let me go ahead and start off by this. Yes, Angela Poe Russell did send us information that the University of Washington put out. They had 73,000 applications expected, and there's only going to be 7,100 that will fill the role. So they have to pick 7,100 for 73,000 applications. Last year, it was 69,000 applications. First, I just want to say this. I've never liked the college admissions process. It has been something, as you all know, what it has been over the last 50 years, because at one point in time, it was definitely unfair for a lot of people. That's one. Two, one of the things specifically that I don't like about the admissions process is the whole legacy. You know, like the legacy admissions, when that's where colleges and universities can have preferential treatment for alumni's kids and grandkids and that thing. Also, don't forget about the one person that buys the building. And so when they buy the building, then all of their family is going to be able to get into it. You want to know what I love about ChatGPT? You know what I love about AI? What I love about AI is, hey, admissions, plug it into there now. Plug it into AI, and let's quit making it and letting it be subjective. You see, it seems like a lot of topics that we talk about, Ursula, has history. And because when you have history and you have so many years when it was so unfair, now you're getting to the point where you're trying to make it fair. So it's kind of hard to do, because for 50 plus 100-something years, you've been doing it so unfair that now it's hard to do. See, when it was easier to do, when it was unfair, when you could say, oh, they're from that zip code. Nope. They're from that zip code. Nope. Mama, daddy ain't got no money. Nope. Now, plug it into AI.
Yeah, but for years, many schools tried to make it more fair, and that is going away. And I'm not supposed to use a certain person's name, so I'm not going to. But any efforts to try to level the playing field, those are going out the window when it comes to Black Americans and low income or first generation college applicants. A lot of those things are going by the wayside.
I want this lawsuit to go through because I want discovery. I want you to pull and show how all of the practices happen. I want you to show how subjective it has been. And going forward, let's have it less subjective and plug that thing into AI, and we go from there.
But the other thing I want to just say, for all the parents who are going through this right now, your kid is going to get, and I needed to know this when I had a senior who I was also very involved in their college admissions. Your kid is going to get into a school that is appropriate. And what they do in that school eventually is going to be much more important than the name of that school. And the other thing I would say is, why are we still, to this day, having kids apply to 20 different colleges that they have no interest in ever attending, only to be able to say that they got into this XYZ college and brag about it on Instagram? It's not good.
When we see these lawsuits against universities, how come nobody goes after legacy admissions?
They have.
Oh,
Yeah, they have. And a lot of times, legacy admissions are not allowed anymore, and the people who were counting on that are hacked.
Wonder why these universities allow football players and different athletes to get in with a lower GPA. Oh, that's right. My bad. They make money off of that. And just think,
they have different standards for the athletes.
At one point, you lower the GPA so the athletes can get in there, and then you don't pay the athletes because, hey, air quotes, you get into education, make us our money. Coming up next, scenarios.
Hey, it's Jason Rance. I'm here with our local tax expert and advocate, Greg Nunn of None Better Tax Resolution. When you're dealing with business owners and the idea that they owe money to the IRS and they feel like they might be letting their staff down, and it just spirals out of control.
One thing I see with businesses, it's really tough because they have employees and maybe they're having a difficult time with the cash flow of the business. Then unfortunately, what a business often does is they quit making their payroll tax deposits, which is really about the worst thing you could be doing. I mean, it's a telltale sign if you're doing that. Hey, get someone that can help you kind of look at your business and see if things can be changed so that you can operate your business better and make those payroll tax deposits. Because let me tell you this, the IRS is on those right away.
If you're having trouble with the IRS, you have to call Greg Nunn of None Better Tax Resolution. From stress to success with IRS Solutions. 425-947-1967 or Google NUNN, None Better Tax Resolution.
This is the story of the one. As a lineman, he does whatever it takes to keep the power on in his community. And he wants a partner like Grainger who does the same. Grainger offers the professional-grade products he needs, from voltage detectors to harnesses to hard hats, plus fast, dependable delivery, so he can rise to every challenge. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Seems everything costs more these days. Gas, groceries, and when's the last time you checked your wireless bill? When it comes to Big Wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Switch to Consumer Cellular to get the same fast nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill. Plans start at just $20 a month, and now for a limited time, new customers can get their second month free. Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit a store near you, or consumercellular.com and start saving today. Plans include $5 credit for autopay and e-billing. Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
The team that gave me back my full head of hair, Advanced Hair, is once again the winner of the 425 Business of the Year. Dr. Parango and his world-class team begin regrowing your own natural hair the very next day. And Advanced Hair guarantees your new hair will grow, just like they did for me. Find out why Advanced Hair is the best of the best. With your free consultation, you'll receive $250 off and 250 free hair grafts. 425-449-8185 or advancedhair.com.
Endless hours of research, seeking referrals, dozens of calls. Hiring the right attorney can be a challenging process during an already difficult time. JP Pendergast with Pendergast Law explains.
In Washington State, Tom, there are thousands of attorneys to choose from. Referrals and online research can be helpful, but discovering the right attorney requires a conversation. It can be hard to identify integrity and authenticity without that interaction.
So, what do you recommend?
We encourage anyone looking for personal injury representation to call for a free consultation with our team before making a decision simply based on referrals or online research. Accident victims need an attorney that listens, demonstrates honesty, and is genuinely understanding of their unique circumstances. The care, attention, and preparation that our firm provides throughout the case mirrors the effort involved when taking on the insurance companies.
Save time and avoid mistakes after an injury. Contact the caring and compassionate team at Pendergast Law.
If you or a loved one has been injured in a car accident, call Pendergast Law. We can help.
Hi, it's John Curley. You know, I've been a patient of Longevity Medical Clinic since 2009, and Longevity Medical Clinic has been helping people live longer, healthier lives for more than 25 years. You know what's amazing, Doctor? The feelings that you have after just a couple of months. You sleep better. Your strength and vitality, it is evident that it works. It's really a mindset, though, Dr. Mixon, because a lot of people, well, this is what's supposed to happen.
Let us help you be stronger, faster, leaner, smarter, sexier, but most important, happier. I'm less impressed by how many years I might live, but how much I live during my years. You know, the option is here. Nobody's going to make you go to longevity, but the opportunity is there, and all you have to do is take advantage of it. I don't know why anybody would not want to do what we do.
And that's where Longevity Medical Clinic comes in. So get your free health analysis. Go to longevitymedicalclinic.com. That's longevitymedicalclinic.com.
At Carter Subaru, your drive begins with savings. With over 300 new vehicles in stock, shop your way, in-store or from home. Plus, when you buy from Carter, you support our community. Visit Carter Subaru in Shoreline and Ballard today.
At Les Schwab, we've been changing the tire game for more than 70 years. Our Go the Extra Mile service means more hustle, less hassle. We design our own exclusive tires to give you more tires made for the road you drive, less compromise. All backed by America's best tire warranty included with every tire we sell. We're talking more unbeatable tire warranty, less charging you extra, like the other guys. It's why you get more from less. Book an appointment at leschwab.com.
It's Gee and Ursula. Oh, Ryan in the 360 worried about your boy. He said Gee sounds like he needs a Snickers bar because he's hangry today. No, actually, Ryan, I'm in a very good mood. But one of the things that Ursula brought up just now is on this show, I'm going to say it, there's no other show on this station that goes as deep as Ursula and I do. We could phone this in and really just stay on the surface, but we don't. And I'd argue it'd probably be better for our careers.
I was going to say.
It'd be better for our careers if we stayed on the surface.
Yes. Yes. And we're not trying to denigrate our colleagues in any sort of way, but it's just some of these things we're especially passionate about.
and some of these topics are topics that come on, Ursula,
affect us.
They don't get talked about. In your 37 years of news, they didn't get talked about.
No.
You know that.
Because you have to really dig deep.
Yeah, you do. All right, let's go.
Here we go, yo. Here we go, yo. So what's the scenario?
I work in an open office area. We have a small office space organized by the department. In each office space are cubicles with a workplace for each employee. By the way, this scenario is just funny because I have a personal story to tell. There are only 3 in our department, and the office space is small. I love my coworkers, though. The problem is with this guy. He stinks. I mean, deep down, incredible, makes me gag stinks. He's not sloppy or dirty. He just has a body odor that I can't stand. It's horrible. Sometimes I almost get physically ill from it. I've tried everything, air freshener, small fan, everything I can think of. But his odor is like an entity that can't be stopped. The other women in the office hasn't said anything about it, and I haven't talked to anyone else about it as well. But I wonder if they know like I know. So what should I do? I can't complain to my boss or HR because he'll know it came from one of us. I thought about asking for a transfer, but what we do is kind of specialize, and that won't work. It's so bad, I'm thinking about looking for another job. Is there another solution? 888-973-5476 is the text line. Ursula, you up to bat first.
Don't look for another job if this is the job for you and that's one that you enjoy. You can talk to your boss about it, and you can talk to HR.
Yeah.
Either you have a highly sensitive nose and no one else is smelling it, or there's a good chance that others are smelling it and they're feeling the same way about it as you are and are worried about consequences. That's not a workable environment. And there are some people who just have body odor that is so foul that it is distracting and needs to be addressed. One of the requirements at just about any workplace would be that you have to have a certain level of cleanliness, correct? And so I think that it would totally behoove you and be entirely appropriate to say something.
Yeah.
I wouldn't try to do it directly. And I've already shared the story about how I had to have that conversation
Ursula,
twice.
you're gonna say something to somebody that stank. But
wait, you know what I would say it in the most
But I'm just saying you would say
delicate
it. I'm
way.
not saying nothing.
Yes.
If you stink, you stink. I'm minding my business. But I wanted to tell you something before we get to you, Sophia and Nick. We're gonna have you guys weigh in. But can I tell y'all a personal? Something really personal.
Yes.
So, I've been doing this working out early in the morning, right? So check this out. I'm at the gym this morning, right? And I go to they had us doing the different stations. And I go to do the pull-ups. You know what I'm saying? So I go, whoa! Is that me? Ursula.
That's the worst. When you realize
got caught. It was me, y'all. I was the one. So I finished my workout, and I was trying to stay away from people because the thing is,
you're keeping your arms down.
The thing is, here's the rule of thumb: if you can smell yourself, trust me, other people can too. So I came in this morning, and I had to come in this morning and get on the show with SMN with Charlie and them, and I came in here. I was so insecure and self-conscious. I was sitting there just holding my arms down in one place.
Can I give you a hint, though? When you do that, you're actually making it worse. Because think about it, then don't you notice all of a sudden oh my gosh, it's getting even sweatier?
I don't know, but I got up out of this studio and ran right downstairs to go take a shower. So anyway, this scenario.
Okay, so you say you're not going to say, are you going to say anything to the boss or the human resources?
No, I'm not saying nothing. Mind my business. Sophia, what you got?
Well, my thing is he said it wasn't like traditional BO. He said it was kind of like, maybe it's just the way this person smells. Like some people just have unusual scents. And so in that case, I was kind of like, look, move your desk if you need to, get a fan, and just I'm sure it's bad, but I mean, you can't tell someone if their natural smell is terrible,
That's true about that natural
That is
smell.
true. That is true. However, again, there are times it's not a natural odor, and it truly is someone who, maybe is going through a thing or maybe just doesn't realize that they have that odor. Yeah. And ultimately, they're really happy when you actually do tell them because they don't want people talking behind their back.
Ursula, I'm sure glad in our 5.5 years of doing the show together that we good.
You can tell when it's potent.
Yeah, we good. What we got, Nick?
Well, listen, if you want the best for you and the rest of the small group of coworkers you got to face the elephant in the room with the fresh daisy in the cubicle. And sometimes it hurts ripping the Band-Aid off to show you care for someone or secretly handing them the Old Spice bar in this case.
Love stinks.
We all sometimes forget to put on our stuff and get that smell, but it's different when it's every day.
The other thing that is real and that is hard is that there are some people who have bad breath to the point where it's an everyday thing and it's hard and you're trying to hold your nose while they're talking to you and not breathe in.
Or the coffee breath. That's the worst.
Oh my gosh.
I stay away. I got another personal story. I'm gonna tell y'all something. I've had Invisalign. Matter of fact, you didn't even know I had Invisalign.
Well, I did only because you told me.
Yeah.
And I've had something very similar before.
Yeah.
But you're doing really well speaking with it.
I've had Invisalign since November of last year. And I'm gonna tell you something, Ursula. Your boy's breath ain't as fresh as it once was.
I'll tell you what else is affecting you. Your diet. Your breath is just fine, but I'm just saying, you know what? When you do keto, when you can tell when someone's doing keto.
Yeah, well, like I said, Invisalign got your boy just whoa. Matter of fact, let me go get me some more coffee or something right now, you know. Hey, that's fun. You ready for Agree to Disagree, Sophia?
Sure am.
All right, we'll do that next. Gee Ursula.
Attention! If you owe money to the IRS, this is an urgent message. The IRS is cracking down by sending out collection letters, garnishing paychecks, seizing bank accounts, and putting liens on homes and businesses. They call it enforced compliance, and you better watch out because penalties and interest on unpaid taxes compound daily, making it even harder to get out of debt. Don't let tax debt destroy your life. You need to call Optima Tax Relief, America's #1 tax resolution firm. They're experts in taxpayer assistance programs that can save you thousands if you qualify. A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau, Optima's resolved over $1 billion of tax debt for their clients. Let them fight on your behalf, helping to put your tax problems to rest. Call the tax professionals at Optima now for a free consultation.
Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Steel, walk behind, zero turn, and stand-on mowers are built to get the job done. Shop online or at your local Steel dealer. Steel, let's go mow.
Do you have 3 ex-wives and your current trophy wife wants a life insurance policy 3 times the size of the policies you had to purchase for your previous mistakes? If so, you need to call Big Lou at Term Provider, 800-230-2777. Big Lou is intimately familiar with your problems, and if you're 50 or 60 years old and in reasonably good health, a $1 million policy should only cost about $100 to $200 per month. Big Lou may have a solution for your previous policies as well. You may even save enough money to lighten the load on your new $1 million policy. Remember, call Big Lou. He's like you, except he's only on number 2. Call Term Provider at 800-230-2777. That's 800-230-2777 for $1 million in term life insurance that you can live with. Call Big Lou at 800-230-2777. 800-230-2777.
Charlie Harger here. When your hot turns to cold, you better think fast. Fast water heater. Call 1-800-THINK-FAST. That's 1-800-THINK-FAST or fastwaterheater.com.
You better think fast, fast water heater.
My wife and I have been married for over 15 years, and I've never had any complaints about my performance in the bedroom. But after I turned 40, things started feeling different. I was gaining weight, losing muscle, and I just wasn't interested in sex anymore. My wife told me her friend's husband went through the same thing, and it turns out he had low testosterone. So we booked a free T-check at Revive Health, and that's when I learned that my testosterone levels were low too. We worked with a provider to create a custom treatment plan, and today, my wife and I are having more fun than we did on our honeymoon. My only regret is not reaching out sooner.
If you're ready to book your free T-check, visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com or call 206-529-1111. Again, that's 206-529-1111.
Hey folks, John Curley here. One of the best home comfort inventions of recent time, mini split systems. Now you can enjoy efficient heating and cooling while saving energy and reducing utility bills with personalized room comfort. Call my friends at Home Comfort Alliance for a free consultation, and for a limited time, get 18 months same as cash financing on all qualified systems. For all your heating, cooling, plumbing, and electrical needs, call the comfort people. Home Comfort Alliance. Visit homecomfortalliance.com.
KIRO-FM and HD1, Tacoma, Seattle. This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by O'Reilly Auto Parts.
I'm Linda Kenyon. An Illinois man has been sentenced to 53 years in prison for a hate crime attack against a 6-year-old Muslim boy and his mother.
Joseph Shuba stabbed 6-year-old Wadi Al-Fayumi 26 times, killing the little boy and wounding his mother. Shuba was their landlord, and prosecutors say he was angry about the Israel-Hamas war starting when he attacked them in October 2023. He was found guilty in February of charges including first-degree murder. Wendy Gillette, CBS News.
The April Federal jobs report came in better than expected with 177,000 new jobs, adding to the impression that the economy continues to improve. CBS's Kelly O'Grady reports.
The economy is still strong when it comes to the labor market, and we had been looking in this report for some of that uncertainty to move from business sentiment, consumer sentiment being down into hard data. Maybe businesses said, I'm going to wait and see. I'm going to pause on hiring. Maybe I'm going to lay off people. We didn't see that.
How might the Fed respond?
The report isn't expected to move the Federal Reserve on interest rates at next week's meeting, with the market anticipating that the Fed will maintain its pause on rates until tariff impacts become more clear on the economy.
That's CBS's Jason Brooks. The Trump White House is out with its budget proposals for the coming fiscal year, counting on cutbacks in some areas, more spending in others, and major tax cuts. CBS's Olivia Rinaldi takes a look.
Increases to the Department of Homeland Security, citing some two major things that will be coming up in the United States in the next 4 years, and that's the World Cup and the Olympics, saying they're going to need a lot more funding to secure the U.S. for that.
A legal battle has been lost for the Duke of Sussex.
Prince Harry lost a court case challenging the UK government's decision to strip him of his police protection after he and his wife Meghan stepped down as senior royals. He told the BBC his father clearly has a lot of control and could have helped.
Ultimately, this whole thing could be resolved.
But he says his father isn't speaking to him.
I don't know how much longer my father has. He won't speak to me because of this security stuff. But it would be nice to reconcile.
Stacey Lynn, CBS News.
The co-director of bishopaccountability.org says two leading contenders to succeed the late Pope Francis must be carefully scrutinized for their attitudes toward clerical abuse within the church.
We cannot afford to have another pope who doesn't take even the fundamental steps to decrease abuse and cover up.
This is CBS News.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get the parts and service you need fast from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
A drive-by shooting at a local park. This story coming up, but first from the Beacon Plumbing Traffic Desk. In Seattle, a disabled vehicle is blocking the I-5 southbound off-ramp to Stewart Street. In Bellevue, a crash is blocking the ramp on the State Route 520 westbound collector distributor off-ramp to I-405. So just some very localized congestion there. You have construction slowing you down on State Route 18 from the Tiger Mountain Summit to I-90. Traffic brought to you by Beacon Plumbing. For all your heating, electrical, septic, and mechanical needs, stop freaking, call Beacon.
KIRO Newsradio 97.3 FM Northwest News. Now, the latest from KIRO Newsradio and mynorthwest.com.
Good morning, I'm Heather Bosch. Seattle police are searching for the drive-by shooter who injured a child and a woman at Beersheba Park in the Rainier Beach neighborhood. KIRO 7 TV's Samantha Lomibao has more from the scene.
Police say that shooter was driving by and then fired shots grazing that 8-year-old's chin and also grazing a 76-year-old woman. Police say the shooter sped off right after those shots were fired, but detectives couldn't share a description of the car. Witnesses told KIRO 7, though, that people immediately ran for cover here at this ramp, and police closed down the park and the boat launch for this investigation for a couple of hours.
Both victims are expected to recover. A 15-year-old Pierce County boy has been charged as an adult with murder for fatally stabbing his mother's boyfriend this week. The teenager told police his mom and her boyfriend had been fighting when he intervened. He has pleaded not guilty and is being held in detention. Some frustration in Renton, where the school board voted to acquire land and homes nearby to expand the high school. Kenneth Green tells KIRO 7 TV that after 20 years of living across from the school, he may be forced to move.
My youngest, who's in the 8th grade, might not be going to Renton High School now because we might not be living across the street.
The district plans to take over 42 lots by eminent domain. A Roy woman says her dog is alive because of a new cancer vaccine. The dog's owner, Casey Benz, tells KIRO 7 TV after surgery and chemo, her dog joined a vaccine trial.
I don't think we would have had him longer than a few months if it weren't for the Yale canine cancer vaccine.
The vaccine is a type of autoimmune therapy that helps the dog's body recognize and fight cancer. It's being tested at 11 sites, including 2 in Washington state. Seattle Seahawks rookies take to the field at the Virginia Mason Athletic Center today. Among them, the Hawks' first pick at the NFL Draft. KIRO 7 TV's Brandon Thompson reports.
The Seattle Seahawks select Gray Zabel.
I got to wake up and pinch myself every single morning that I get to play for the Seattle Seahawks.
Fresh from college at North Dakota State.
Big and athletic, and that's what we need.
Zabel is the first offensive lineman the Seahawks have picked in the first round in 9 years. He's one of several new players coming to Lumen Field this fall.
It's a whole DNA shift.
A shift Zabel says he's still pinching himself that he gets to be a part of it.
This weather update brought to you by State Roofing and Exteriors. Mostly sunny skies today with highs near 70. It's 64 in downtown Seattle. I'm Heather Bosch.
Your best source for local news, serving Western Washington and the world with a KIRO Newsradio app. Always streaming live on your smart speakers. You're listening to KIRO Newsradio, Northwest News.
This is the Gee and Ursula Show with G. Scott and Ursula Reutin.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Happy Fresh Fridays here on the Gee and Ursula Show.
Do you see how unnatural it is? Just for you to be spiteful, it sounds so unnatural and ridiculous.
Hey, real quick, I was coming into this segment, and this is a question for all of you on our YouTube page and also on the text line. At work, at what specific point in the week is your third base moment? What do I mean? At 11 o'clock on a Friday, for me, is my third base moment. I'm at third base on the baseball field, getting ready to go home. Everybody has their third base moment during the week. Ursula, my third base moment, as soon as 11 o'clock hits on a Friday, I got a different energy.
Yeah, you do.
I just text Lillian during a break. I say, hey, what time you coming home? What's your third base moment?
11:30.
Okay, 11:30?
Because agree to disagree for me is always so tricky.
Oh,
it's always
because you be researching.
Yeah, because I don't get the chance to do enough research, and half the time now Sophia's here today, and she's producing today, and I wanted to say again, you've done a fabulous job.
Great job, Sophia.
So, and Chef does an amazing job. But one of the things that Chef does is a lot of times I have no idea what he's going to ask us.
True.
Right. So it is truly just talk off the top of your head and give an answer off the top of your head. And I'd like to just be a little more thoughtful. So for me, it's like Russian roulette on agree.
So 11:30 is yours.
11:30.
Nick, when is your third base moment?
Right around when the show ends and I'm done babysitting here and you guys go to bed for the end of the day.
And Sophia, I just want to say, by the way, you have been filling in. If you, on the YouTube, you can see Sophia here today. You've been filling in. You've been doing such a great job. And I'll tell you what I love most about you. You're not a pushover. I love.
No.
Sophia.
Oh no.
Is that the Italian? Because Sophia will push back on you, and I just never change, Sophia.
Yes.
It is awesome. All
Thank
right.
you. I appreciate it.
Text in your third base. Because by the way, I'm on third base. I'm done working. So hit the text line. Let's talk. Agree to disagree. Brought to you by Garden Fruit and Gutters.
All right. Under a new Washington law, littering fines are supposed to double from $50 to around $125 for small amounts of trash. And apparently there's an extra $93 that are going for highways. And this is the first adjustment to littering penalties that is being made since 1993. But when I saw this, my question is this type of legislation even effective? I'm curious, Gee, what you think, because most people who are litter are going to do it anyway and they don't get caught. Is it even worth upping the littering fine?
The same way to carpool, the whole new thing about if you get caught in a carpool, it is now a moving violation. It will stay on your insurance and it will help raise your insurance premium. That has taught me a lesson. I stay away from that carpool. Matter of fact, I kind of cheated a little bit. But I was in there today, and I snuck and got right out of it, and the cop was right there. So don't do that. Second, Ursula, yes, I'm all for the penalty for littering being up. Don't we all want to live in a clean neighborhood? It should go to $100 and something. Don't be throwing your stuff out of the car or out here on the ground.
Yeah, too many people are pigs and don't care until they get caught. So do I think this kind of legislation would actually help? Only if it is enforced. So you can jack up the penalties. And like you said, until you actually get nabbed for doing something wrong, you're not going to change your behavior.
True.
Just the warnings. How many warnings have we had about Real ID for how many years? And now that it's actually going to go into effect, people are scrambling.
Wow. Great point. See, you still working. You still working.
Still
That's
working.
a very good point right there.
So,
yeah.
Right? So I'm in favor of increasing the penalties. Absolutely. Because do you see what's on the side of our freeways?
Big fact.
It's horrible. And quite frankly, we're going into the warm stretch. It's a gorgeous day today, and we're going to be going into a warm stretch. What happens when people throw their cigarette butts, their lit cigarettes, and people are throwing that out the window, and then now you cause a fire?
But here's a question. And law enforcement, 888-973-5476, can you guys pull someone over for littering?
I don't think they do, but I'm going to guess that they can.
I wonder if they can.
Okay. Or do they?
Or do they? That's another good
Text
question.
us 888 because how else are you going to get caught?
Have you ever
cameras? There aren't cameras everywhere.
Have you ever known anyone to get a littering ticket? Because I haven't. Neither have I.
No, but I've heard of people getting stopped after throwing a cigarette butt, especially when there's all these warnings. Because of a fire danger, obviously. But in any case, I don't think it is effective unless you're going to actually enforce it.
206. What about those unhoused that litter all over the place? All right, 206. I'm not working this hard today.
Point well taken.
Well done, 206. Well done.
Okay, so another thing that has kind of been on the top of mind recently is something that's big in the influencer interview TikTok world. There is a popular running influencer. Her name is Kate, and she is currently under fire because she made a video with Caroline Levitt. The purpose of her platform is that she will conduct these videos while going on runs with celebrities, different public figures. You know, it boosts wellness. It's, hey, would you like to go on a run with me? And they run around a mile, a block, or if it's a very particular location they want to share, she'll run with them, gives them a platform. She went especially viral in the fall ahead of the election season when she interviewed Tim Waltz, and her video garnered over 100, lots of views, 150,000 views. Now she just interviewed Caroline Levitt yesterday, or she put the video up. It was either yesterday or the day before, and then she took it down and she put it back up. All her comments are disabled. And now Tim Waltz's daughter, Hope, is making a video asking her to take down the video with her dad. And some argue it's just her being a fair journalist, supporting each side. She did an interview with the left. Now she's doing an interview with the right. But Hope is saying in this current administration, the both sides applying rule doesn't apply. Do you think that, Gee? Do you think both sides get to have a fair share on this platform?
One side is not pro-Constitution and one side is. Until further notice, the current regime, administration, is not pro-Constitution. If and when that changes, then my answer will change. But as of right now, platforming Caroline Levitt, there is no both sides. Caroline Levitt and what she's okay. We're not even talking about her is kind of talking about that other.
We're teetering on the line.
But I want to actually weigh in on this, and I hear what you're saying, G, but I think it's ridiculous. And I follow Hope Waltz, and she is very much like her dad. She has politics very much like her father. She is very much a Democrat, very much a progressive, and she is trying to basically bully this running influencer who did an interview with Caroline Levitt, who, you know what? I don't like Caroline Levitt. I think that she tells all sorts of lies every single day. She lies, and she does it really well. That said, you see her every single day, multiple times a day, and this influencer or this person on TikTok or whatever it was had a chance to interview her and see a different side of her. So what ends up happening is people who only want to see Democrats on this platform are going to be hacked off. But I don't think Hope Waltz has any right to say, take my dad's interview with you off. Her dad agreed to do the interview. There weren't any stipulations to say you cannot interview somebody else. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, are there two sides? Yeah, sure, there are two sides. I would have challenged her, Caroline Levitt, if I did the interview. I haven't seen the interview that was done, but it sounds like she was trying to show the other side of Caroline Levitt, as in what she does when she's not working at the podium.
Yeah, it was a less politicized interview in the sense it was more. She walked around the White House and showed her the press bullpen and just talked about her life and why she wanted to become a press secretary and that kind of realm.
Yeah.
And I think Tim Walt's interview was a little bit more centered around before the election.
Sure.
And so I think Hope was more upset that her dad's video garnered her all this attention and support, and she's interviewed some major celebrities since then.
And her dad benefited it from
right,
it
of
too.
course.
I find that ridiculous, honestly. And it's unfortunately, it's where we're at today. It is where we're at today. It's like, you dare talk about, to someone else that I don't like, I am going to shut you down. And I think that's so much of, I would have called her out as a liar if I did the interview. But again, this idea that now she's got to take down previous interviews that she did, I disagree.
Okay. Well, we're going to switch things back over here to Seattle. And a little bit. It's an online debate, but also kind of has something to do with the Seattle Seahawks, G. I don't know if you guys have been anywhere on the internet and hearing about the 100 men versus one gorilla debate. It's a conversation that's been a internet topic for ever, but it recently resurfaced online, and now former NFL player Luke Wilson is claiming that the Seattle Seahawks kind of have their own version of it. And when he posted a video on X a few days ago where he basically said that this was a very popular discussion topic in the Seahawks locker room 10 years ago, and his version of it was, and it's not just agree to disagree, can you 100 men beat one gorilla? He said, of course 100 people can do it, but in our game, we were like, how many people do we need in order to get it done? And who are those people on my bench? And that will affect who you have. So my question is, G, do you have some players in mind that you would want to have on your beating gorilla team? And do you think that's a viable thing?
Current team.
Yeah.
On my current team?
Yeah, who would you have on your team?
Okay, first to mine. I don't even want to think about it. My first one's mine. Two of them are in prison forever. One of them, my cousin Warren. He's dead. May he rest in peace.
On the Seahawks team, though.
Oh, on the Seahawks
on
team.
The Seahawks.
I mean, that's fine too. If you want to.
Are you talking about real life?
No.
Oh, you talking about the Seahawks team?
Yeah.
Oh,
well, I mean,
my bad.
Whatever you want. No, it's your team.
Remember, G said he's on third base right now.
My bad.
I think you've just kind of finished the run.
Okay, so on the Seahawks team, how many do I get to pick?
Well, that's the thing. So the initial idea is 100 men, but according to Wilson, he said we would decide how many men we actually thought we needed and who those. So you could say 9, you could say 20.
Well, first, I don't think 100 men can beat a gorilla.
Ah, okay.
I just don't think so.
Agree to disagree, Ursula?
Because why? Because today we are more selfish than ever, and those on the front line, I don't think they're going to be. I think they're going to fake like they're on the front line, but they're really going to be backing up because the gorilla is going to actually kill the first ones that's in their mind. Who's going to be the one that's going to sacrifice?
I think we're taking this way too seriously. I think we're just trying to say, like, who are the strongest people that you would
want?
On
the Seahawks?
Yeah,
they all strong.
Pulling with you.
They all strong. I don't know.
Okay, let's take out the gorilla. Let's just take out the gorilla. If you could pick out the people in your life who would be like the one most likely to get you out of a pickle, get you out of trouble, who would those be?
My cousin Lon, who lives in Alabama right now. I would call on him. He would be someone that I guarantee you, if I could only call one person to get me out of a bind and it's a tough situation, I call on him because, ooh-wee. All right, so who would you call on?
I would call my husband, of course. I would call my husband, then my boys, and then my sister, Honey. She'd get me out of trouble for sure. But, yeah, I think the gorilla question, it's cute, but it's hard to think of who's on that team.
Well, I mean, look, according to Wilson, like, people are always debating all the gorillas, but this was a huge thing for the Seahawks. Like 10 years ago, he's like, they would come in every day and really talk about it. He even said that he like called the zoo at one point to really think about the legitimacy of them beating up a gorilla and how that would work out. So I don't know. I think maybe it is a more serious thing.
Real quick, do we think 100 men can beat a gorilla? That's a question. That's a fair question. Nick, you think so?
I think there's a shot. Yeah, if you got 100 strong men. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, if you had like 100 football players, they could definitely beat a gorilla.
I mean, if you want to go 100 football, 100 men. Just 100 random men, just 100.
It would be a tough
Sample-sized.
one, but 100, yes.
They got to be all in, though. If they're 50%, it's done.
Okay.
They got to be all in. They got to be dedicated.
Nick, that's just it.
Yes.
There's a lot of people that will shake and fake.
It's like a football team, you know?
Yeah.
You got to go in ready to go through a brick wall.
All right. By the way, that conversation I could see lasting for 3 hours.
This is why it's a big thing on the internet. Like people are it was a huge thing in 2020, and I don't even know who brought it back this year, but that's why people could go on and on and on. It's one of those locker room conversations that you keep going into, right? But there is something else that's kind of like blowing my mind a little bit. This is the concept of all virtual band. There is a virtual K-pop band. They're known as Plave, and they have a lot of supporters, huge fan base, and they are entirely virtual. That's their way that they do it, is they're completely displayed virtual. It's not AI because they are real people, but they are avatars that are represented by real people. And they say, yeah, we have fans. And a lot of the fans say it's great. I still feel the experience of supporting a band, but it's all virtual. And so some people are saying, is this the future of music? And in some ways I could see it's great for, as a celebrity, you get this form of anonymity and no one knows who you are, but you're also famous and you get all of that. But also, do we want the future of music to be virtual? What do you think, Ursula?
I just think that's too strange. And it sounds very gimmicky, but ultimately, I personally would not get into it. Once I find out, didn't we have a scandal with Milli Vanilli way back when? I still love that song.
Blame it on the rain.
When I found out it wasn't them, I was like, done. I can't.
You know what? I remember where I was when I found out. Private McMillan is the one that told me, because he was a huge Milli Vanilli fan.
I love them.
And he told me about it. It's not like we had social media back then.
Right.
It was either 88 or 89 that it came out, because I remember where I was. Ursula, that broke my heart when that came out. So, yeah, I'm cool. Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah, I don't think it would be something. It's about as interesting to me as actually having an AI relationship. And I know you said it's Avatar, not AI, but my son and I walking around Green Lake yesterday, and we're talking about AI, and he said, yeah, I think it's going to get so advanced at some point, where he was talking about that, how people could actually have relationships with AI. And I said, my God, that's just...
I could see that easy. By the way, Sophia, thanks, because now I'm awake now. And this whole 100 men against one gorilla, I stand on this. No, they could not win. Now,
okay.
Gen Z? 100 Gen Z fighting? Absolutely not. No, none of them would be bought in. The Gen Z is the generation of you go first.
Collectively, the entire generation, you think? I think there's a few people that could come through.
100 Gen Z, Ursula, would not beat a gorilla. Now, if there was a chance,
See, now he's ending up the segment with a sweeping statement.
100 baby boomer men in their prime could potentially beat a gorilla.
In their prime is the caveat. Have a little asterisk there.
100 baby boomer men. I don't even think Gen X can do it.
Can I just tell you that Becky in Maple Valley is really unhappy with us talking about this gorilla thing?
Oh, she is?
She said, how about some real news? Becky, we've been doing real news all day long. Can you allow us to just have a moment?
Becky, really?
Yeah.
Okay. You want some hard-hitting news at 11:30?
No, we don't. No. Actually, coming up at 11:30.
There's been cuts to KU, to NPR. We can talk about that.
Yeah, no, we're really trying our best. We've hit the hard news. Just go back to our podcast and listen to every other segment, minus scenarios. Okay, now I've hit my third base.
Estella in Tacoma said 100 baby boomers could beat 100 Gen Xers. Yes, I agree.
Do you think it might be because they'd have more weight on them at this point? Physical weight?
Have you?
The boomers are just a little more rough around the edges.
Okay, before we get out of this segment, I want to ask a serious question. Is there anyone in your family and or friends that's older and you go to shake their hand and they have the strongest handshake?
Yeah.
That's baby boomer handshakes. I mean, seriously, that hand that is so strong, that's baby boomer handshakes. All right, I'm off the scales. Coming up next, we got a special guest that has to do with preseason WNBA basketball, The Storm, this Sunday. We'll do that next. Gee Ursula.
This hour is brought to you by DUI Heroes.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is for you too. Stubborn fat is really hard to get rid of, and then there's all those gimmicky lasers, fat freezing methods, and prescriptions. Imagine a simple solution that takes just one day and provides immediate noticeable results. Introducing ProSculpt. ProSculpt uses air-assisted technology that's safe and gentle yet powerful, delivering instant fat-reducing and skin-tightening results. Performed by board-certified plastic surgeons while fully awake, ProSculpt contours your body with minimal downtime. It's designed to target those problem areas: waistline, neck, face, arms, thighs. ProSculpt gently removes unwanted fat and tightens loose skin with FDA-cleared plasma technology, all in a simple, guaranteed one-day procedure. ProSculpt is one and done. Schedule your free consultation at prosculpt.com for $250 off. For powerful permanent fat removal and skin tightening that works for ladies and you men, it's prosculpt.com.
If you're thinking about renovating an attic, spending more time in your sunroom, or building onto your home, a Carrier ductless unit is the perfect solution for climate control. It's efficient, quiet, and incredibly flexible when it comes to installation because there's no ductwork required. It's just one more way we're making your home totally comfortable.
Your local Carrier heating and cooling dealer will improve your home's comfort, air quality, and efficiency. Visit CarrierNorthwest.com to find the expert near you. Carrier, turn to the experts.
When the heat's an 11, cool AC would be heaven.
Dayandnight.net.
Beat the rush. Act now before summer, because that heat's a real bummer.
Dayandnight.net.
This is the time to plan ahead, so you stay cool this summer. Hi, I'm Bruce with Day and Night Plumbing and Heating. Call us about installing a high-efficiency cooling system or servicing your existing one so you're cool when you need it.
Now save $50 off our pre-summer AC tune-up.
Dayandnight.net.
It's time. The new phase of premium view lots at Natchez RV Resort is open. Don't miss your opportunity to get first pick. Tide, tell us about it.
Our new phase features incredible extra-large RV lots with amazing unobstructed views. And talk about privacy, nothing will be developed behind them. And these lots start at just $80,000.
Natchez RV Resort has 300 days of sunshine and year-round family fun. Pickleball, playground, dog park, miles of recreational trails. Plus, you have fishing, hunting, skiing, and golf nearby. And don't forget wine tasting. Yakima Valley has been voted the #1 best wine region in the U.S.
Natchez RV Resort also features a 4,300 square foot clubhouse with gourmet kitchen, great room, fitness center, showers, and laundry. Plus, the brand new saltwater swimming pool and hot tub are open and ready for you.
Get your perfect pick of Natchez RV Resort's premium view lots, starting at just $80,000. Reserve your showing now. 800-422-6009. 800-422-6009. NatchezRVResort.com.
The team that gave me back my full head of hair, Advanced Hair, is once again the winner of the 425 Business of the Year. Dr. Perungo and his
pre-existing conditions, health history, beginning of treatment. There are hundreds of factors that make every person and every injury unique. While these variables aid medical treatment, the strongest case recoveries must also take them into account.
Could you explain a little bit more?
Our team at Pendergast Law is obsessed with turning over every stone to differentiate each case. This requires thorough investigation, diligent listening, and relentless research. We never pursue cases with a one-size-fits-all approach. We built our success by treating every injury and every case with the individualized attention our clients need and deserve.
Pendergast Law's individualized approach to even the most common injuries makes the difference in case outcomes. It's another reason why I can't recommend them enough.
If you or a loved one has been injured in a car accident, call Pendergast Law. We can help.
The Puyallup RV Show, May 1st through 4th. 400 new and used RVs, plus manufactured homes. Over 1,000 floor plan options. It's your best chance to save all year. Browse the exhibits, chat with the experts, free parking. Tickets at PuyallupRVShow.com.
Sponsored by Progressive Insurance.
Charlie Harger here. When your hot turns to cold, you better think fast. Fast water heater. Call 1-800-THINK-FAST. That's 1-800-THINK-FAST or fastwaterheater.com.
You better think fast. Fast water heater.
We all get a good feeling when we show up for others. That's what Give Big is all about. Give Big is Washington's annual statewide giving campaign, May 6th and 7th. Visit wagives.org to discover and donate to nonprofits making good things happen.
KIRO News Radio 97.3 FM Northwest News. Now, the latest from KIRO News Radio and mynorthwest.com.
Good morning, I'm Heather Bosch. President Trump's feud with Harvard escalates. Trump says he's revoking the university's tax-exempt status, but can he do that? CBS legal contributor Jessica Levinson.
If Harvard felt that its tax-exempt status was targeted because of its educational content or its ideological views, it could argue that that actually violates the First Amendment.
So this could go to court. The federal government has already withheld $2 billion in funding over the university's DEI programs and campus protests. A Port of Tacoma commissioner warns it could take months to recover from Trump's tariffs, which have caused slowdowns at West Coast ports.
Commissioner Dick Marzano says ports all along the West Coast anticipate a 40% drop in business by mid-May.
This is not a light switch. They can just turn it on and off. The uncertainty our small and medium-sized businesses are having or whether or not they're even going to be able to stay in business throughout the year.
And the clock is ticking, says Marzano, as companies look to stock up on back-to-school and holiday products. They need more clarity on trade policy. Aaron Granillo, KIRO News Radio.
Amazon CEO is offering a rosier outlook on tariffs. Andy Jassy says the company's big online marketplace is built to weather the challenges.
When you've got larger diversity like we have a better chance of some of those sellers deciding that they're going to capture share and they're not going to pass on all or any of those tariffs to customers.
Jassy spoke during the company's Q1 earnings call after Amazon reported better than expected results, but also softened its expectations for the second quarter. A better-than-expected monthly report from the Labor Department. It shows that employers added 177,000 jobs this past month and that the unemployment rate held steady at 4.2%. A distressing report from the Centers for Disease Control. It shows more American children died from the flu this season than at any time since the swine flu pandemic 15 years ago. 216 children have died, including 3 in Washington state, and the flu season continues. In a few days, cardinals will gather to choose the next pope. CBS's Chris Livesay is in Rome.
This conclave could take a little more time because there are so many cardinals from far-flung places around the world that Francis himself named in places like Mongolia and Papua New Guinea that we just don't know a lot about, and we don't know how they're going to vote.
Wall Street likes that jobs report. The Dow is up 578 points. NASDAQ ahead 317. From the Beacon Plumbing Traffic Desk in Parkland, a crash is blocking a lane on the eastbound 512 State Route 7 off-ramp. Beyond that, no big blocking problems. Construction on I-5 southbound has you slow along JBLM from Stillicum DuPont Road to Murray Creek. And on State Route 18, you're slow from Tiger Mountain Summit to I-90. Traffic brought to you by Beacon Plumbing. For all your heating, electrical, septic, and mechanical needs, stop freaking call Beacon. This weather update brought to you by State Roofing and Exteriors. Mostly sunny today with highs near 70. It's 64 in downtown Seattle. I'm Heather Bosch.
Your best source for local news. You're listening to KIRO News Radio, Northwest News.
This is the Gee and Ursula Show. Thank you so much for hanging out with us on this gorgeous Friday morning. Our text line is 888-973-5476, 888-973 KIRO. And we have made big news this week when it comes to women and professional sports. As you know, earlier this week, Seattle made history, when becoming the first city in the United States to host all 3 professional women's sports leagues. The WNBA, the Women's Soccer League, and now the Professional Women's Hockey League. The hockey thing is the newest. But I want to spend some time talking about the women's basketball team, which, Gee, you and I have always said we don't spend nearly enough time talking about them, especially considering all the success that the team has.
Yeah, a bunch of champions around there.
Yeah. And so who better to talk about the Seattle Storm than returning public address announcer Matt Pittman, also friend of Gee and Ursula. Good morning.
It's a little. That's a little Gee and Ursula scoop right there.
Nobody knows.
They have yet to make sort of the formal announcement, which Cat will be out of the bag on Sunday, which is the first and only home preseason game. I am beyond excited to be back. I was the PA announcer for 14 years before I left to go do the same thing for the Golden State Warriors for 5 years in San Francisco. But now that I'm back here in Seattle, I'll be back with the Storm. And 14 years was a long time. A lot of, let's call it, rebuilding seasons before they got to sort of that dynasty era where they won a championship in 2018, won a championship in 2020, had some historic and memorable playoff moments, but building the relationship with Storm fans who are the most passionate, the most knowledgeable, the most informed, the most engaged fan base I've ever been around in my whole 30-year career doing professional sports stuff. I'm excited to be back.
Well, we're excited to have you back too, by the way.
You.
I mean, you are such an incredible talent.
Hey, Matt, one of the things that I don't think many know, and I think if they knew this, I think it would even have them more excited about Storm basketball. Can you explain how the Storm came to be?
Oh, my goodness. Well, how they came to be, they were one of the early expansion teams. So the league started in 97. In 99, Ginger Ackerley, as the Ackerley family owned the Sonics. She wanted a WNBA team added, so the Seattle Storm came on, I think, in 2000 or 2001. I'm not sure. Fast forward to when our buddy Howard sells the Sonics, and the Sonics and Storm were
together.
These guys from Oklahoma City, they had no interest in the women's basketball team. They were not going to put a women's basketball team in Oklahoma City, okay? So you had a group of 3 longtime season ticket holders, very successful, all women, by the way, very successful in their business careers, senior executive at Microsoft, hedge fund managers, private equity investor types. 3 women bought this team.
That's awesome.
For the price tag was about $10 million, which even then was kind of just that's nothing in the big picture of things when we're talking about pro sports teams. The Key Arena situation, the lease situation with the Sonics leaving, and that agreement that, who was it? Was it Greg Nichols at the time that let them go? It was just such a hot mess, but they ended up being able to work out favorable terms to where they were able to operate the Storm independent of an NBA franchise, which was the anchor, essentially. And let's just fast forward now and look at what they've built. They've built a team that has won 3 championships since they purchased the team. They have built with private money, that beautiful new training and team facility out at Enterbay. Only team in the WNBA that has its own state-of-the-art independent facility that's not attached to a university or an NBA team. And the franchise valuations that came out for the first time ever, a WNBA franchise was valued in the 9 figures for with the Seattle Storm leading the way. And I'll just give a shout out to that group of women. Force 10 Hoops is the enterprise that is the Seattle Storm. They saved women's basketball in Seattle. Not only did they save it, but they wrote the playbook on how to make it work for markets across the league.
Wow.
And now the league is expanding. Golden State has a new team starting this year. There is a new team in Toronto and Portland that will be starting next season. So, yeah, and I don't think that happens without what the women of Force 10 Hoops did here in Seattle.
Thankfully, they did that. Okay, so for those who have never been to a Storm game or who just think, well, it's not going to be that interesting, or whatever reason they give for not going. Why should someone go to a Storm game?
Well, number one, they just should get with the program. And they should just realize that, look, the last 2 years in a row, more people have watched on television the women's NCAA tournament championship game than the dudes. All right? True. And these, with NIL and college athletes being allowed to get paid and do endorsements, you now see, Juju Watkins with USC, who's the next big star to come out of college and the next draft. She's already doing State Farm commercials. Caitlin Clark was doing, commercials. Women's basketball is at its all-time high in popularity. But why should they go to a Storm game? Not only are you going to see the premier level of professional basketball in the world with these teams and these women, but you're going to have yourself some fun, too. The whole entire thing is centered around the entertainment for the fans. It's families.
They do have the greatest fans. I mean, from what I've heard, every time someone texts in and says, you are missing out because the Storm fans are the real deal.
And like I said, get with the program. They averaged over 10,000 fans a game last year.
I just want to give a shout out to Lori in Auburn because she has been a listener from day one. And she just texted in and says, I'm so happy to hear y'all talk about my favorite team ever, the Storm. And by the way, Lori, I remember, I have seen your text message. You have been saying for us to talk about the Storm. Yes. Thank you, Lori.
Listen, they have a really exciting team that they've put together this year. Loss of Jewel Lloyd, who's one of the great scorers in the league, but they went out, they acquired a player in Lexi Brown. She shoots the lights out. They've got Skylar Diggins is a 6-time All-Star. She's coming back. Former MVP Nneka Ogwumike, she's coming back. Alicia Clark, who was a starter on their last 2 championship-winning teams, she's back this year.
Okay.
It's going to be a fun season.
Awesome.
And, first preseason game, 3 p.m. Sunday is the first preseason game.
You have something to do.
I'll see you there.
Matt Pittman, thank you.
You bet.
Thanks, Matt. Good to have you back. It's a coworker, too. You gone you gone 5 years, bro?
Almost 6 years.
I know. So happy to have you back.
Yeah, good to have
Happy
you back.
to be here.
All right. Text messages, feedback, and then we'll have, by the way, third base. I've already left the stadium. Text message, feedback, and then we'll have Ursula's words to live by. It's Gee and Ursula.
KIRO Newsradio is right there with you.
A big story developing this morning
on your smart speaker before you head out the door.
We get the latest live from KIRO Newsradio's Luke Ducey.
Huge impacts for Boeing and Boeing workers.
The office, the gym, anywhere.
Water, like taxes, goes all the way down to the bottom, so it'll either come out of the employee's paycheck or the lack of raise.
KIRO Newsradio. We're on YouTube, our app, your smart speaker, and 97.3 FM.
Hi, my name is Rajiv Nagaich. Ever since I became an elder law attorney more than 20 years ago, I've helped thousands of people in the Seattle area retire with more confidence about their future. I'd like to invite you to one of my retirement planning seminars this month. Learn how to protect your estate from long-term care costs. Live out your years where you choose, even if you get sick, without becoming a burden on people you love the most. Learn how to use the Safe Harbor Trust to protect your estate from threats most people overlook. Come to the seminar and I'll show you how it's done.
Join the free seminar in Federal Way on May 13th, Tacoma on May 15th, or Bellevue on May 17th. Register at lifepointlaw.com. That's lifepointlaw.com. Or call 253-838-3454. 253-838-3454.
Thanks for calling Discover. This is Nia.
Hi, Nia. It's Jennifer. Did you know that Discover automatically doubles all the cash back you've earned at the end of your first year?
Yeah, I work here.
Okay. I was just double checking. Get it?
Because Discover automatically doubles all the cash back you've earned at the end of your first year?
Oh, you get me, Nia.
You could say that I double get you.
I guess we've taken it too far.
You earn, we match. Discover Cashback Match. See terms at discover.com/creditcard.
This is Secret Clinical dominating extra stinky stress sweat. And this is regular deodorant. Secret Clinical in a heat wave. Oh, what a beautiful day. This is regular deodorant.
Ugh, I can't.
Secret Clinical with workout sweat.
Let's run another marathon.
And regular deodorant.
How much more?
Secret is the GOAT. Because nothing fights sweat better.
Stay fresher under pressure.
Well, this week's First Mark Challenge victory goes to Roger. Roger, why did you call First Mark Insurance?
Over the last several years, my homeowner's insurance policies just kept on going up and up and up. For years, it was $1,100. Last year, it was $2,500. And this year, $5,000. That's what got me to call First Mark Insurance.
Were they able to save you any money?
Absolutely. Within a couple of days, came up with a proposal that blew my socks off. It was an amazing amount of reduction in cost.
Did they improve your coverage while saving you all that money?
They did both. The coverage is better and the cost is substantially less. It's half as much as I was paying last year. We'll recommend First Mark to anyone who is looking to get better coverage at less cost.
Well, Roger did it, my family did it, and you got to do it, and it's totally free. Take the First Mark Challenge and see how much they can save you and how much better your coverage will get. Maybe you will be our next First Mark Challenge victory. Just go to firstmarkinsurance.com. First Mark Insurance. They work for you.
I've always been a super athletic guy, but after I turned 40, I noticed I was slowing down. Instead of hitting the gym after work, I spent my evenings on the couch with a bag of chips. I was gaining weight, losing muscle, and when I did try to work out, I ran out of energy right away. One of my buddies suggested I book a free testosterone check at Revive Health, and that's when I learned that low T doesn't just impact how guys perform in the bedroom. I worked with a provider to create my custom treatment plan, and today I'm feeling stronger than ever. Last week, I even set a new PR at the gym. My only regret is not reaching out sooner.
If you're ready to book your free T-check, visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com or call 206-529-1111. Again, that's 206-529-1111.
There's a sink at the brink and a drain that's a pain.
DayandNight.net.
The old throne's not too well, and ooh, does it smell?
DayandNight.net.
Slow drains, backed up toilet, is your main drain or sewer clogged? Hi, I'm Bruce, General Manager of Day and Night Plumbing and Heating. Over the past 70 years, I think we've seen every drain clog out there. If your pipes aren't draining from a small fix to a major repair, our sewer and camera inspection will show exactly where the problem is. I promise you, our experienced technicians will find the issue, the right solution, and do it at a fair price. Give us a call or visit DayandNight.net. I guarantee whether Day and Night is your first choice or your smart second opinion, we'll work harder than anyone to earn your trust.
If you have a drain that's slow or clogged, call Day and Night. Now you'll save $50 off any drain cleaning. Slow or clogged drains? You know where to go.
DayandNight.net.
Carter Subaru wants to buy your car. Carter Subaru will buy your vehicle for top dollar, even if you're not in the market for a new one. And when you are ready to buy a new vehicle, your drive begins with savings at Carter Subaru. Carter Subaru in Shoreline and Ballard.
If you're thinking about renovating an attic, spending more time in your sunroom, or building onto your home, a Carrier ductless unit is the perfect solution for climate control. It's efficient, quiet, and incredibly flexible when it comes to installation because there's no ductwork required. It's just one more way we're making your home totally comfortable.
Your local Carrier heating and cooling dealer will improve your home's comfort, air quality, and efficiency. Visit CarrierNorthwest.com to find the expert near you. Carrier, turn to the experts.
It's Gee and Ursula. Full disclosure, I just opened up my news boss. And what does that mean? That means
They don't know what that means.
Oh no, I've told them before.
Yes.
That's where the work is for the Friday, and so I just pulled it up just now so I can look at the text messages.
And just know that never in the history of the entire Gee and Ursula show have I ever not had News Boss open.
How about that, Nick?
That's a first.
I don't know
It's in the archives.
I don't know how you do it.
Text messages.
Hang on. Okay, and I'm going to just make a real quick correction here on. Okay, hang on a second. So, we have a bunch of text messages from all of you. And we'll start with the Bellingham roofing raid. I used to own a fence company, says 503, and I had some undocumented workers. We paid taxes on all of them and also paid them the same going rate that anybody else made. It is a quandary when you have good, honest people who are just trying to do a job. Should be a faster way for them to get a temporary number or ability to start working immediately in this country.
Dave in the 206 says, problem is 99.95% of the bosses out there look at their employees as a number. They're there to make good money, and that's it. They don't care if they're legal or not, if they have a pathway to citizenship.
On Governor Ferguson and the wealth tax, Eileen in Bremerton says, I am a Republican. I did not vote for the governor, but I am liking him a little more. I am impressed with him.
425 says, I worked hard at Boeing. My wife and my 401k is $2 million. I by no means am rich. That might last through my retirement.
Part of that was just talking about, and he said he had $2 million total. And what qualifies as rich or a millionaire? On naked gardening, Al in Seattle says, I could understand why Seattle is a good place to garden naked. We have soft plants and not many dangerous bugs.
Nikki in the 253 says, garden is dirty. Laugh out loud, duh. So who wants to be tickled by weeds, plants, or backing up into a spider webs or anthill? Laugh out loud, no thank you.
Brian in Arlington says, I know someone who works in the ER. Okay, just be careful about this story here. They had a guy come who said he was gardening naked, and he somehow fell on a carrot that got stuck up a certain body part.
Oh, come on.
It was a really big carrot, and oddly enough, it was a clean carrot when they were able to remove it. I'm sure he didn't lie, blah, blah, blah. Be careful when cultivating in the nude. Thanks, Brian. Take that one with a grain of salt.
Joel in Big Lake says, all I can think of is bees being around my garden and getting stung in a not so nice place.
On beating a gorilla, Mark in Seattle says, TV wildlife guy Forrest Gallant says, gorillas are strong, but they have very little stamina, so the first 30 guys would get destroyed, but that gorilla would get tired and the men would eventually win.
Joe in Bellingham says, not one dude is going to be the first to step up to that gorilla. No way. The gorilla will waffle stomp each one.
This is true. On your pantry picks, Kathy from Mill Creek says, what a wonderful, lighthearted moment about your pantry choices. I'm with G and the Jif and crackers and cheese and the ramen.
Allie in Tacoma says, in addition to music, turns out Nick is also my snack soulmate.
Okay. I've never heard that one before.
Oh, my gosh. Snack soulmate.
Soulmate, okay.
That's important.
That's my Mariner
Get to
slogan
Andreas
right
in 425. That's the last one, Ursula. Go ahead.
Andreas in the 425 says, when things start getting tougher with prices, I know whose house I'm visiting. It's Sophia's.
Heck yeah.
All right, Ursula, let's go with your words to live by.
In these tough times and these just even more divisive times, I love this quote from Bob Carey, who says, unexpected kindness is the most powerful, least costly, and most underrated agent of human change. It's true.
Kindness.
So go spread some unexpected kindness.
I know, kindness. I'm glad today's a free day because I can't say what I want to say.
Oh.
Thank you for that,
No,
Ursula.
you usually end the show with be kind.
Oh, that's right.
You just have to live up to your own words, G.
That's right.
You've already left the stadium now.
Nick, what do you got?
Well, surely yesterday and now inspired outdoor time to be basking in the warmth and stealing sun like it's a crime. But what's really sounding criminal are garden growing squares with the people going into it without their underwear.
Letting it all hang out.
And if going in the nude, at least don't make the garden stink with your pits and smell of onions, making eyes tear up and blink. I think everyone in the garden's past third base and smelling something after that.
That's a good one, Nick. That's a good one. Sophia, you did such a great job today. Thank you again. Seriously.
Love it.
Thank
you. You did a great job.
One of my favorite things about having been in this business so long is when you see that new generation and you just have hope.
Yep. Yeah,
Sophia,
good job.
You give me hope.
Ursula, so a millionaire. Net worth. It's your total assets minus your total liabilities. So your assets, your cash, savings, investments, real estate, cars, art, collectibles, that's your assets. Now, you have to minus your liabilities, which is your mortgage, your credit card debt, your car loans, student loans, or any other personal debt. So you would minus that. So if you
I can see why there are a lot of people who are millionaires, but I know they don't feel like millionaires.
Right.
And then there are people who are tens of millionaires, and they won't feel a change. But thank you for that definition.
So if you still owe $700,000 on your house,
you're not a millionaire.
You're minus that.
Yes.
All right, good stuff. Good stuff today, Ursula. Have a good weekend.
You
Sophia,
too.
thank you. Nick, what you doing the rest of the day, bruh?
I'm going to watch some Mariner baseball, maybe hang out with a friend in Tacoma. We'll see.
That's right.
Yeah.
We got the Mariners.
Playing the Rangers tonight
Texas
at 5.
Rangers.
Can
That's
listen on
right.
Seattle Sports.
What time's it start?
I think 5 o'clock, 5-ish, a little after 5.
Okay, cool stuff. Hey, the Jake and Spike Show, they're coming in next. Have a great Friday. Have a great weekend. And we'll be back again on Monday. Appreciate you for listening. Love you for that. And as always, well, be kind.
Hope you had as much fun as we have. So long, everybody.
Ways, yeah, make an old man wish for younger days. Yeah, she knows she's built, she knows how to please.
Hey folks, John Curley here. One of the best home comfort inventions of recent time, mini split systems. Now you can enjoy efficient heating and cooling while saving energy and reducing utility bills with personalized room comfort. Call my friends at Home Comfort Alliance for a free consultation, and for a limited time, get 18 months same as cash financing on all qualified systems. For all your heating, cooling, plumbing, and electrical needs, call the comfort people. Home Comfort Alliance. Visit homecomfortalliance.com. For many of us, it's happening. Your hair is thinning, crown disappearing. Hair loss for me was like identity theft. The solution? The simple one-day treatment that worked for me from Advanced Hair. And I'm just one of tens of thousands. Advanced Hair was recently crowned the winner of the 425 Business of the Year again. Advanced Hair begins regrowing your own natural hair the very next day, and it's guaranteed to grow for life. We've all seen the pills and lotions, those monthly subscriptions. They help retain what you have, but if you're like me, you want more. You wanted your own natural hair in specific areas permanently. From Advanced Hair's groundbreaking technology to world-class Dr. Perungo, it's not maybe your hair will grow, it's guaranteed that your new hair will grow. For your free consultation, $250 off, 250 free hair grafts, call 425-449-8185. That's 425-449-8185 or advancedhair.com.
I'm John Ramsar with Baird Private Wealth Management in Seattle, here with my friend Cole Hardman, former patient and now Director of Development at Seattle Children's Hospital.